Chapter 80. Fatty Bai admits defeat. Yeezy, are you crazy? What a great chance. Yeezy, don't be stupid. The other roommates in the room started to whisper to him, while Yi Zichen continued to look at Yang Yushi, who was beside Hu Hong. Sorry, I made you guys come for nothing. Yi Zichen bowed deeply, then pushed Zhang Rui and company away and directly left the ward. After leaving the ward, Yi Zichen was unable to calm down for a long time. At that moment, the ward door opened once again, and Yang Yushi ran to Yi Zichen's side. Can we have a chat? In a small coffee shop near the hospital. Yang Yushi intentionally lowered her cap as she sat in a rather corner. Even so, plenty of people in a coffee shop were able to tell that it was Yang Yushi. All of a sudden, the two of them became the focal point of the coffee shop. Miss Yang, your coffee. Thank you. Can you give me an autograph? The waiter left happily with Yang Yushi's signature. Meanwhile, Yi Zichen sat on the chair and stirred the coffee in his cup with a faint smile on his face. You're very popular? Yi Zichen, shouldn't a reunion after a long time be a happy thing? Why do your words sound so harsh? Yang Yushi looked down, while a hint of bitterness appeared on her face. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows with a smile as if he didn't understand, then finished the coffee in his cup without even adding a milkshake. It's a bit bitter. Yi Zichen, are you even listening to me? Yang Yushi raised her voice a bit. Oh, I'm listening. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows and leaned back on the chair. What I said just now wasn't targeted at you. It was all the truth. You're a popular movie star right now. I, a small white person, am very envious. Is that not okay? Yi Zichen turned silent when Yang Yushi called out his name loudly. After a long time, I think I should leave. You're a public figure. Staying with a small person like me might cause someone to take photos, which would negatively affect you. Yi Zichen stood up and prepared to leave, but Yang Yushi stood up from the chair and stopped him. Why didn't you want the chance Hu Hong gave you? I don't want to enter the entertainment industry. You're lying. You clearly told me 3 years ago that you wanted to be a singer. You have no right to stand with my daughter. The two of you are not the same kind of people. Here is 1 million. Take the money and leave my daughter. Stop pestering my daughter. Think about your mother. Creak. Yi Zichen clenched his fist tightly, then took a few deep breaths. Not anymore. Yang Yushi looked up and stared straight into Yi Zichen's eyes. Okay, then let me ask you, do you still keep your promise? Buzzed the phone in his pocket rang. It was Xiao Yumei. My girlfriend called me. I'm leaving. Girlfriend? I'm sorry. I lied to you before. Yang Yushi raised her hand and slapped Yi Zichen's face. Yi Zichen rubbed his aching cheeks, then smiled towards Yang Yushi. Then, he left the coffee shop after paying for the coffee. Yi Zichen, do you know Yang Yushi? She seems to have been very famous when I was alive. How do you know her? Yi Zichen knitted his eyebrows. What's wrong with you? Yi Zichen frowned. Why do you have so many questions? I'm just curious. Lu Jing circled above Yi Zichen's head. I feel like there's a story between the two of you. Don't you find it annoying? Yi Zichen suddenly stopped and raised his eyebrows towards Lu Jing, who floated in midair. Don't mention her to me anymore. If you mention her to me again, then I'll find white impermanence to bring you to the underworld. In an instant, Lu Jing stopped. However, Yi Zichen's heart was moved by Lu Jing's words. No, more than no. Director Xiao, I can buy it for a high price. Please be merciful and give me a way out. Bai Dahai stood in front of Xiao Yumei's jewelry store and begged. His actions also directly affected the fact that there were practically no customers coming to the store. Xiao Yumei frowned and looked at Bai Dahai. Director Bai, can you not block our door? This is affecting my business. Director Xiao, just agree to sell me some ores. Bai Dahai had no other choice. They were in the jewelry business, so they needed to pay attention to the situation of the stone gambling area at all times. They needed enough jade to support the daily operations of the jewelry store. However, due to Yi Zichen's crazy sweep a while ago, it caused it to be very hard to find ores that could increase in value. Some of the smaller jewelers were able to survive, but he couldn't. He was also one of the top jeweler tycoons in the circle, so he needed enough jade sources to support him. Yi Zichen's actions directly cut off all of his options. Bai Dahai, what are you doing? When Yizichin got out of the taxi, he saw Bai Dahai, who was blocking the door and begging. Xiao Yumei's eyes lit up when she saw Yizichin, and she immediately ran over. Zichin, Yumei. Yizichin quietly pulled Xiao Yumei's hand and walked in front of Bai Dahai. Boss Bai, we're all doing business. What's going on with you blocking the door like this? Young Master Yi. Mr. Yi, I don't have any other choice. Bai Dahai's already small eyes practically squinted together as he said, we jewelers rely on the ores to get a few good materials during the ores auction, but Yi Zichin instantly understood. It seemed like his crazy sweep caused a shortage of jade in the ores auction circle, which caused the fatty's business to be unable to continue. Yi Zichin didn't think that his unintentional action would actually cause such a problem. Yi Zichin smiled and shrugged with a smile. Boss Bai, this is what goes around comes around. You didn't forget how you bullied Yumei at the trading center, right? Young Master Yi, it was I, Bai Dahai, who had eyes but failed to recognize you. Bai Dahai was about to cry. The reason why he suppressed Xiao Yumei's company was due to someone else's request. Young Master Yi, you are a magnanimous person. Please be merciful and give me a way out. I have an 80-year-old mother and a child waiting to be fed. Fine. Don't talk about those useless things with me. Yi Zichin waved his hand impatiently. What 80-year-old mother, child waiting to be fed? You're filming a TV series with us. If you want to live, it's simple. Didn't you say that you wanted to merge with Yumei's jewelry shop? I'll give you this chance. Give us 51% of your jewelry shop shares and make it our subsidiary shop. I'll get Yumei to give you jade. Young Master Yi, the chance is in front of you. It depends on what you think. With that, Yi Zichin wrapped his arm around Xiao Yumei's waist with a smile. Chapter 81. Hao Wen's Threat. Zichin, you couldn't have been serious about what you said about Dahai just now, right? Xiao Yumei looked towards the front passenger seat as she drove. Yi Zichin smiled, then rolled down the window and lit a cigarette for himself. You can't be thinking that this fatty came to beg for mercy, right? Isn't that the case? Xiao Yumei was stunned for a moment. She felt like what the fatty said was completely reasonable. They had swept through all the ores that had jade in them. With this batch of ores, the jewelry industry under her would be able to develop quickly. In contrast, those former competitors would all fall into a period of decline. As the leader of the industry, it was very normal for Fatty Bai to come to ask for ores because he was unable to endure the pressure of the poor business. This Fatty, he isn't as simple as you think. Yi Zichin squinted his eyes, then chucked the cigarette out of the window with a smile. At the same time, outside Xiao Yumei's jewelry store, Fatty Bai sat in the driver's seat and did not start the car. Instead, he made a call. Yi Zichin told me to give him 51% of the jewelry store's shares. Should I agree? 51%. The person on the other side of the phone was stunned, then laughed coldly. Give it to him. But Fatty Bai was a bit unwilling. This was the business that he worked so hard to build. It was going to be given to someone else so easily. No buts. Would young Master mistreat you? Think about your daughter. The gloomy words on the other end of the microphone made the fair Fatty's pupils shrink, followed by an unwillingness to be alone. I got it. Tian dressed up like a little princess and ran around the room like a happy deer. Yi Zichin sat on the sofa in the living room and reached out his hand towards Tian, causing her to jump into his arms. Daddy, why didn't you bring Tian a present? Yi Zichin was instantly shocked. Only then did he remember that the Barbie doll he bought for Tian was still at home. Tian, Daddy will come and replenish you next time. Okay? Sure, I want a big transformer. Tian nodded with a giggle. Only then did Yi Zichin raise his eyebrows with a smile. I didn't think that Tian actually likes things that boys like. Zichin, Tian, come eat. Tian's birthday party was held at home, and there weren't many people at home. When the three of them sat together, a warm feeling spread from the dining table. Tian sat close to Yi Zichin's side. It was clear that she really liked her father. After eating her birthday cake, Tian ran around the room again. Yi Zichin and Xiao Yumei sat on the sofa in the living room and couldn't help but smile when they saw Tian's lively appearance. Tian, is much better than before. She would never be so crazy before. I'll come and see Tianan more often in the future. Yi Zichen raised his hand and caressed her hair, then wrapped his arm around her waist. She leaned her head against Yi Zichen's shoulder, then closed her eyes and enjoyed the sense of security that the little man beside her gave her. Ding dong. The doorbell rang, causing Xiao Yumei to raise her eyebrows in astonishment. She didn't have many friends around her. Logically speaking, no one would ring the doorbell at this time. She stood up from the sofa, suspiciously. When she returned to the villa, she had a square box in her hands. What's this? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Xiao Yumei shook her head. I don't know. It was placed at the entrance of the mansion. Yi Zichen held the box in his hands. The box was extremely light, and no sound could be heard when he shook it. Yi Zichen took off the box with a frown and opened it. A greeting card fell out of it. Happy birthday to Tian Tian. Signed, Hao Wen. It was a simple greeting, but what caught people's attention was the picture of a bloody dagger on the back of the card. Hao Wen. Xiao Yumei's face instantly turned pale. Yi Zichen also frowned as he looked at the card in his hands without saying anything. Zichen, what does Hao Wen want to do by sending the card here? What does that dagger mean? Does he want to do something to Tian Tian? Xiao Yumei's tone was filled with nervousness. Although Tian Tian was adopted, she had always been by her side. She couldn't allow anything to happen to Tian Tian. Don't worry, he might just want to wish Tian Tian a happy birthday. Yi Zichen reached out his hand to caress Xiao Yumei's hair and comforted her. But how about this? Let Tian Tian stay at my place. It's definitely safe there. No matter how capable Hao Wen is, he can't do anything to Tian Tian. Zichen, I understand. Yi Zichen reached out and pulled Xiao Yumei into his arms, then patted her shoulders softly, while a cold light gradually surfaced in his eyes. Hao Wen, if you know what's good for you, then you better not have any weird thoughts with him. Otherwise, even if it's the person behind him, he won't let them have a good time. When night fell, Tian Tian, who had gone crazy for an entire day, returned to her room to sleep. Yi Zichen stretched, then stood up from the sofa with a smile. Yumei, I'm going back as well. Don't. Xiao Yumei suddenly hugged him from behind. The feeling from his back instantly caused Yi Zichen's blood to boil. He wrapped his arms around Xiao Yumei's waist and pecked upwards without any hesitation. Ugh. Zichen, come in my room. Bang. Yi Zichen pushed Xiao Yumei onto the bed, then practically tore off their clothes like a ferocious beast. Not long later, they saw each other naked. Xiao Yumei's face had already turned red up to her neck. She looked at Yi Zichen, who was panting heavily above her with reddened eyes. Zichen, after muttering softly, she hooked her arms around Yi Zichen's neck and kissed him. At that moment, sparks flew. When Yi Zichen woke up the next day, Xiao Yumei was no longer beside him. Yi Zichen couldn't help but lick his lips when he thought back to the craziness of the previous night. She truly was a naturally seductive woman. Damn pervert! Damn pervert! Lu Jing's scream suddenly sounded out from above. Yi Zichen looked up and saw her staring at him fiercely with her almond-shaped eyes. Yi Zichen slapped his thigh and smiled wryly. I was so focused on making out with Xiao Yumei that I actually forgot that there was a virgin ghost, Lil Lu Jing, beside me. From the looks of it, could she have been watching the fight the entire night? That was definitely a mental and visual torture for her. Hee sorry, but you can't blame me when it comes to love. What's more, you could have just stayed in the Dragon Eye. I didn't force you to watch a movie, Yi Zichen said shamelessly. Yi Zichen acted shamelessly. Hearing that, Lu Jing immediately swung her fist towards him. Yi Zichen allowed her rain-like fist to land on his chest. At that moment, Yi Zichen's phone rang. When he put the phone to his ear, a deep voice sounded from the other side of the phone. Chapter 82. The arrogant Yang Zhen inside a luxurious RV. Yi Zichen crossed his legs and smoked a cigarette while swirling the expensive red wine in his hand. A middle-aged man with a sullen expression sat in front of him. He was Yang Yusher's father, Yang Zhen. Uncle Yang, we haven't seen each other for many years, right? Yi Zichen leaned on the back of the seat. Yang Zhen looked up with a sharpness that others could not look at directly. We have indeed not seen each other for a long time, but we clearly didn't have to see each other, right? Yi Zichen didn't deny Yang Zhen's words. To be honest, I don't want to see you either, but it seems like you took the initiative to find me. Yi Zichen smiled playfully. Yi Zichen smiled playfully. He raised his hand and flicked the cigarette ash into the expensive glass of red wine with a smile. Uncle Yang, what do you want to say to me this time? You shouldn't have met you, sure. I didn't want to either. Yi Zichen pursed his lips with a smile. I also hope that she can have her new life. But you broke it. A light flashed across Yang Zhen's eyes, which was replaced by a sharpness that was hard to look at. Yi Zichen's facial muscles twitched, then looked up at Yang Zhen and asked softly, "Then what do you want?" "This is a check for $1 million. Yi Zichen smiled the moment Yang Zhen took out the check. 3 years ago, he had used this check to shatter all of his dignity. 3 years later, the same scene, the same conversation, and the same check. "Uncle Yang, I'll call you uncle once more because of you, sure." Yi Zichen pursed his lips, while a hint of mockery appeared in his eyes. "Do you think that money can really solve everything, and that money is omnipotent?" Yang Zhen's expression darkened. He stared at Yi Zichen with his incomparably sharp gaze, but all he got was endless mockery. "Are you really doing this for Yusher's good? Do you think that you got rid of all the pursuers around her? Do you think that after she becomes an adult, she will enter the marriage you designed for her, and live the life of a rich lady that normal people can only look up to? Do you think that this is the fortune you brought her? How laughable. To put it nicely, you don't want Yusher to suffer for the rest of her life. To put it bluntly, aren't you doing this for the sake of a business marriage so that your career can take a step forward, right? I won't disturb Yusher's life, and you don't have to worry that I have ulterior motives. But please believe me, if Yusher doesn't like the luck you arranged for her, then I will personally smash your so-called luck into pieces. Don't doubt my words, and don't try to use my mother to threaten me. Otherwise, if I go crazy, you won't be able to handle it." The mockery on Yi Zichen's face increased. He picked up the check on the table, then tore it into countless pieces in front of Yang Zhen and scattered them on the floor of the RV. "To be honest, this amount of money is nothing to me right now. Oh, by the way, let me remind you, if you have time, go to the hospital for a full body checkup." Yi Zichen pushed open the door and got out of the car. Yang Zhen sat straight on the sofa in the RV, while Yi Zichen's calm words echoed in his mind. "Master." A waiter walked over from his side. Yang Zhen glanced at the shredded check on the floor and raised his eyebrows. "Clean it up and bring young mistress home." Even after a long time, Yi Zichen's heart was unable to calm down. He leaned against a willow tree on the side of the road and smoked, while his heart was filled with mockery towards Yang Zhen and pity towards Yang Yusher. It was her tragedy, but also her fortune, to have such a domineering father. At the very least, her father loved her in his heart. Lu Jing floated beside Yi Zichen without saying anything. She could feel that he was in a very bad mood. "Do you have a lot of things you want to ask?" Yi Zichen suddenly looked up and smiled towards Lu Jing. "Actually, Yang Yusher and I were a couple 3 years ago. The person just now was her father. It's just as you thought. He forcefully tore us apart back then." Lu Jing raised her eyebrows. Actually, she had already guessed the result, but it was a completely different feeling when Yi Zichen admitted it himself. "So pitiful. Pitiful." Yi Zichen shook his head with a smile. "Isn't this what a father should do? He doesn't want his daughter to be wronged, especially a poor brat like me. If it was my dad, he definitely wouldn't be like this." Lu Jing's eyes were filled with unquestionable certainty. Seeing her like that, Yi Zichen raised his hand and rubbed her hair, while his eyes were filled with gentleness. "But it's not too good for you to talk to your ex-girlfriend's father like that, right?" At that moment, Lu Jing spoke up once again. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes and cursed angrily. "I'm already giving him face, you know? If it wasn't for him, I might have had a second chance. Now, I've even delayed my proper business. How can I not be angry? It's already polite of me not to hit him." "You! Shameless!" Lu Jing screamed and raised her hand to hit him. Yi Zichen quickly turned around and ran, but heard someone call him from behind. Yi Zichen. Hearing that, Yi Zichen stopped and turned around, only to see that it was Su Yin calling him. Yi Zichen felt a bit of pity towards this goddess, who was above friend, but not yet lover. He had been thinking about how to get that bit of good impression up, but he didn't have the chance. Yi Zichen gave Lu Jing a look, signaling her to stop messing around. Yi Zichen ran to Su Yan's side and smiled. "Why are you here?" Su Yan immediately grabbed Yi Zichen's arm and gave him a subtle look. Only then did he notice that there was a woman with heavy makeup standing beside Su Yan. When the woman saw Su Yan hug Yi Zichen, her eyes couldn't help but reveal a hint of displeasure. "Su Yan, aren't you going to introduce him?" "Gao Chong, he's my boyfriend, Yi Zichen." "Boyfriend?" Gao Chong raised her eyebrows and scanned Yi Zichen with a judgmental gaze. Not long later, her eyes flashed with faint disdain. "Su Yan, you're a flower in our class. You should also be a school beauty in university, right? The boyfriend you found is only of this standard?" What did she mean by this standard? Yi Zichen was a bit unhappy. How was his standard low? "Girl, you're sick." Yi Zichen glanced at her. "You're the one who's sick," Gao Chong screamed. "Do not believe me. You really are sick. Go get checked at the hospital when you have time." "Zichen," Su Yan pulled Yi Zichen's arm. At this moment, Gao Chong also snorted coldly. "Su Yan, I came here to pass on a message. We'll have a high school reunion in a few days. Young Master Bai will also be there. Young Master Bai is also here, compared with the one beside you. TSK, Young Master Bai spent a lot of effort on you in high school. Take care." Chapter 83. Su Yan's favorability has leveled up. "Su Yan, next time you see her, you must tell her that she's sick." Yi Zichen pointed at the back of the beetle. Su Yan pulled his arm. "Let's go." "Well, don't be angry with her. Since when did I get mad at her?" Yi Zichen shook his head with a sigh. "She really is sick." Surprise flashed through Su Yan's eyes. However, when she thought about how Su Yan was the one who saved her grandfather, he might really have noticed something. "What illness?" "You're crazy," Yi Zichen said seriously. "Pooh." Su Yan couldn't help but smile. She raised her hand and hammered him. "Don't talk about him like that." That girl is too cocky. What does her family do?" "She's so rude, even when talking to you." "Don't tell me she's the third generation of a famous family in the capital?" Yi Zichen laughed. Su Yan shook her head with a smile. "No, she's my high school classmate. Her family background is probably not bad. Then how dare she talk to you like that? She really is crazy." "Who is Su Yan?" "His father was a colonel, and his grandfather was a chief. He was a proper third-generation power, especially when Su Qilong was a business tycoon. Under the influence of this kind of family, Gao Chong still dared to speak to Su Yan in such an ambiguous manner. Either he didn't have a good heart, or he was really crazy. "She doesn't know about me." Su Yan chuckled. Yi Zichen understood. With Su Yan's low-key personality, it was normal that the other party didn't know about her. However, he suddenly thought of young Master Bai. "What's the relationship between you and young Master Bai?" "He's just a normal classmate. He wanted to chase me back in high school." Su Yan pursed her lips and hurriedly explained. "He's really just a normal classmate." "All right, I believe you." Su Yan reached out his hand and stroked her hair. Her face flushed red. She enjoyed the feeling of being with Yi Zichen. In her heart, his position had already become unshakable. But in her subconscious, she was still a little resistant. That point of resistance was Xia Kiki. As best friends, he knew very well that Xia Kiki was interested in Yi Zichen as well. She didn't want to fight with her, but she didn't want to give up. "Yi Zichen, I have something to ask you." Su Yan bit her lips. "Do you know that Kiki likes you?" Yi Zichen was stunned when he saw Su Yan's serious expression. This was too sudden. He didn't even have the chance to react. More importantly, he didn't expect Su Yan to ask so directly. Their affinity was currently at 499. If it wasn't at 500, then there was a possibility that the rope would break again. From this, it could be seen that his answer was extremely important. "I know." After countless internal struggles, Yi Zichen chose to tell the truth. As soon as he finished speaking, he was ready to accept the news that the marriage string was broken. But no, the marriage string did not break. "Who?" Yi Zichen let out a long sigh. It was truly dangerous just now. He raised his head and snuck a glance at Su Yan. only to see that her expression wasn't affected in the slightest by his answer. More importantly, she spoke again. Then do you know that I like you? I know. Then do you like me? I like it. All of a sudden, Su Yan's face blossomed into a smile so dazzling that even 100 flowers bowed their heads in admiration. Then, she leapt into Yi Zichen's arms. Ding dong. Your affability level with Su Yan increased by 1. Current affability level, 500. Affability level leveled up. Current couple relationship confirmed. Yi Zichen's heart trembled when he received the notification. It leveled up just like that. The 1 point of affability level that had been stuck between the two of them increased through these questions. Su Yan hugged Yi Zichen tightly and pressed her head against his chest. She had been repressed for far too long these past few days. When he made a bet with her father for her that day, his figure had already been deeply imprinted in her heart, and she couldn't get rid of it. However, she had always been worried about Xia Keek's matter. She felt like she was going to go crazy. That was until he said that he liked her. She felt like everything didn't matter. No matter who liked him, no matter who else was by his side. As long as he liked her, as long as she had a place in his heart, that was enough. After a long while, Su Yan struggled out of Yi Zichen's arms. I'm telling you, don't get too cocky. Kiki is my best friend, so Anyways, if you dare to bully me in the future, then I'm going to get my older brother to beat you up. Understood. When Yi Zichen returned to the hospital with Su Yan, Yi Rong, who sat in the ward, had a terrifyingly terrible expression. Mom, what did you run off to this time? Can't you just stay in hospital peacefully? Yi Zichen stuttered, unable to say anything. However, at that moment, Mother Yi saw Su Yan and Yi Zichen's tightly clasped hands. This girl, hello Annie, I'm Zichen's classmate. Su Yan blushed, and her heart beat like a deer. Seeing Yi Rong's expression, Yi Zichen knew that there was nothing to hide, so he directly nodded. Mom, didn't you always want to see your daughter-in-law? Here she is. Yi Zichen. Su Yan pulled Yi Zichen's hand, while her face blushed all the way to her ears. Hearing the words daughter-in-law, Mother Ye's smile became even brighter. She quickly welcomed Su Yan over and scolded Yi Zichen. Hurry up and go to Dr. Huang's place to change your bandages. Dr. Huang has already come several times. Understood. Yi Zichen gave Su Yan a look that told her not to worry, then left the ward. However, when he arrived at Huang Xingmei's office, he felt a headache for some reason. The two of them had a marriage string. However, he didn't know how the marriage string came out. As Yi Zichen hesitated, he stood at the door of the office for a long time without going in. However, at that moment, the door opened from the inside. Yi Zichen. Hi, Dr. Huang. When Yi Zichen arrived at Dr. Huang's office, his body, which had eaten the body-enhancing pill, was far superior to normal people. Even though it was a gunshot wound, it was more or less healed after a few days of rest. After wrapping the bandages around Yi Zichen, Huang Xingmei said softly, You've recovered pretty well. You should be able to go through the procedures to leave the hospital. Oh, Yi Zichen didn't think that Huang Xingmei's tone wasn't much different from before. However, when he thought about it, he understood. The affability level of the marriage string between the two of them was only 10. It didn't matter if it wasn't. Thank you for your care, Dr. Huang. You're welcome, but when can you treat my little brother's leg? Huang Xingmei raised her head. In her heart, her little brother was still the most important. That will have to wait. How long? I'll come and find you when the time comes. Yi Zichen replied vaguely. He didn't know how long it would take for him to store enough of that qi. All right. Huang Xingmei smiled, then scanned Yi Zichen's body with her beautiful eyes, then bit her lips. You have a girl, ding-dong. Just as Huang Xingmei spoke, Yi Zichen's phone rang. Chapter 84. Rapidly increasing favorability. Huang Xingmei bit her lips as she looked at Yi Zichen, who was playing with his phone with his head lowered. Just now. She had wanted to ask that question just now. He actually told him to wait and went to use WeChat. Yi Zichen couldn't care less about her. He opened WeChat and saw that Neza was looking for him. Third Prince Neza. Hey. Third Prince Neza. Hey, say something. When Yi Zichen saw the third prince's cute Shota profile picture, he could imagine just how cute his expression was. Why is the third prince looking for me? Yi Zichen replied in a testing manner. Did you send red packets in the group while I was slaying the dragon? Don't try to lie to me. Immortality Peach Fairy has told me everything. Yi Zichen couldn't help but smile when he heard the cute Shota picture and the cute tone. Xiao Xian is indeed rich. Then give me another one. I want that drink too. But I won't let you suffer a loss. I can trade with you. Exchange. Yi Zichen's eyes lit up. Third Prince Neza might look cute, but he was one of the top existences in the Heavenly Court. If he wanted to exchange it, it definitely wouldn't be something too inferior. What are you talking about, Third Prince? It's just a red packet. Coincidentally, there was an unopened bottle of Nutrient Express on Huang Xingmei's table, so Yi Zichen directly scanned it and sent it over. Yi Zichen, Huang Xingmei's eyes widened as she stared blankly at this scene. F*CK, this is bad. Yi Zichen secretly patted his thigh. He was so focused on giving Neza that he forgot that there was someone in the office who didn't know what was going on. Yi Zichen knew that she definitely saw everything when he saw Huang Xingmei's expression. We must make her one of us. That was Yi Zichen's only thought. Don't panic. I'll explain to you later. Yi Zichen didn't panic in the face of danger. No matter what, Huang Xingmei was already his. If he couldn't explain himself, he would just accept it. As for how he was going to explain it to the other women around him in the future, that was another matter. When he looked at WeChat, Third Prince Neza had already received the red packet. What's Nutrition Express? That's not what you gave Sister Immortality Peach last time. The adorable Third Prince expressed his confusion. Third Prince, you may not know this, but this is much more advanced than the one we gave them back then. If we were to sell it, it would cost 400 cultivation experience per bottle. They only have 300 cultivation experience. Ayo, ayo, ayo. The Third Prince didn't seem to mind Yi Zichen's words too much. Not long later, Yi Zichen received a system notification. Your intimacy level with Neza increased by 50. Current intimacy level, 150. Wow, delicious. You really didn't lie to me. Since you've treated me so well, I can't treat you unfairly. Ding dong. A large red envelope immediately appeared on the screen. Yi Zichen clicked and received the red packet. Fragment of Soul Pearl Yuan X1, another fragment of Soul Pearl Yuan. In that case, he would have 4 fragments in his hands. I heard from Big Sister Immortality Peach that you obtained 3 fragments of Soul Pearl Yuan. It just so happens that I found one in the dragon's lair when I was slaying a dragon. I'll give it to you as well. Let me tell you, this Soul Pearl Yuan is an ancient spiritual treasure. If you can gather one, you'll definitely be able to do whatever you want in the Heavenly Court. How touching. The Third Prince was really a good immortal. She actually gave him such a precious treasure, but, however, it was useless. Even if he gave him this fragment, he still lacked 2 more. When Yi Zichen got the fragment, he searched around the treasure shop, but there was no sign of the fragment of Soul Pearl Yuan. Perhaps Soul Pearl Yuan was truly a spiritual treasure that all deities desired, but it was useless if he couldn't gather one, right? Thank you, Third Prince. No matter what, Third Prince Neza had good intentions. After Yi Zichen expressed his thanks, the Third Prince sent him a smiley face, then disappeared. You seem to be chatting with Neza just now, Huang Xingmei asked in a testing manner. She suddenly felt that the way she woke up today wasn't right. Just what kind of weird things happened? The Nutrient Express on the table disappeared for no reason, and she even saw someone chatting with Neza. Yi Zichen, what should we do? She seems to know everything. Lu Jing also spoke up at this moment. Yi Zichen licked his lips, then placed his phone on a Huang Xingmei's desk. See, can I? Although Huang Xingmei said that, her hand uncontrollably reached towards the phone. She was way too curious about how that bottle of milk disappeared, and what exactly happened with that Third Prince Neza. The moment she held the phone, she saw that the person Yi Zichen chatted with just now was truly Neza. More importantly, he also had a group with the names of immortals in it. You can't tell anyone what you saw today, understand? Yi Zichen walked in front of Huang Xingmei, and the tip of his nose nearly touched hers. Huang Xingmei's face instantly turned red, while her heart also started to beat rapidly. Ding dong. Your affability level with Huang Xingmei increased by 50. Current affability level, 60. Ding dong. Your affability level with Huang Shengmei increased by 50. Current affability level, 110. Ding dong. The affability level notification popped up 7 or 8 times and only stopped when their affability level rose to 490. I definitely won't tell anyone. Huang Xingmei's eyes were filled with determination, although she still hadn't figured out what was going on. Although she didn't understand what was going on, Yi Zichen showing his phone to her meant that he trusted her. She definitely couldn't betray his trust in her. Good girl. Yi Zichen reached out his hand to rub Huang Xingmei's hair, while Lu Jing twitched her mouth on the side. Shameless, despicable, shameless. Yi Zichen ignored that great aunt's mocking. He knew very well that this sort of method wasn't very good, but there was nothing else he could do. If he really leaked the secret, then don't talk about people. Even Tai-Bai jinxing might not let him off. As for feelings, he could slowly develop them. Weren't there a lot of people who got on the bus first, then bought the ticket in this era? He didn't even get on the bus yet, so there was no rush to buy the ticket slowly. Someone called Canopy Marshall added you as a friend on your phone just now. Huang Xingmei pointed at the phone on the table. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows, then quickly picked up the phone and crossed his legs as he sat on the chair. Indeed, the Canopy Marshal added him as a friend. However, this profile picture was something to retort about. The golden armor was majestic. This was completely different from the Zhu Beiji in his mind. Never mind, I don't care so much. So many people on the internet are using fake profiles who can stop people from the heavenly court from using them. What's more, the Canopy Marshal might have used Mei too. Except, Yi Zichen immediately looked at their intimacy level. 100. Friendly. From the looks of it, the lowest intimacy level for people to add him as a friend was friendly. Only Erlang Shun was different, and he actually managed to make them become sworn brothers. Yi Zichen didn't know why the other party came, so he could only send a question mark in a testing manner. Chapter 85. The fifth fragment of Soul Pearl Yuan Canopy Marshal was definitely one of the top foodies in the Heavenly Court. He had a large appetite and a good appetite. For example, when he was eating ginseng fruits, Monk Sha only took one bite, and he threw the entire fruit into his mouth, but he didn't taste anything. In the future, Yi Zichen would definitely have great potential. Yi Zichen smiled when he heard the Canopy Marshal's urgent tone. What business does Canopy Marshal have with this sovereign? Hee. Old Pig is indeed looking for the Sky Sovereign for a small matter. Canopy Marshal laughed foolishly, with a few shy emojis behind it. When Yi Zichen saw that, he pretty much guessed what was going on. Speak. The Celestial Venerable snatched a lot of Soul Pearl Yuan fragments from the Dragon King that day, didn't you? Yi Zichen was shocked when he saw the reply. Why was it Soul Pearl Yuan? From what he thought, the Canopy Marshal should have mentioned a drink. Could it be that the Canopy Marshal was interested in this treasure? If he wanted to, then there was no harm in giving it to him. Of course, the prerequisite was that he had to exchange for it with treasures. Right now, Yi Zichen was acting like an unscrupulous merchant who only cared about profit. This group of immortals had a lot of treasures in their hands. If he didn't cheat them, who else would he cheat? Canopy Marshal wants the fragment of Soul Pearl Yuan? This, Marshal, you should know that this fragment is an ancient divine object. This noble one is actually... Yi Zichen intentionally acted like he didn't want to act in order to raise the price later on. If Canopy Marshal really wanted it, he would have to bleed a lot. However, he was wrong. The Empyrean really does need the fragment of Soul Pearl Yuan, right? Old Pig also has a fragment in his hand. Can you exchange it for a few hundred bottles of the drink you gave me the other day? Pooh. When Yi Zichen saw the reply, he couldn't help but blur. Sure enough, he wasn't cut out to be a businessman. Now he had shot himself in the foot. Sure enough, these immortals of the Heavenly Court were not easy to deal with. He had to be careful when dealing with them in the future. Damn, he tricked me. If Canopy Marshal knew about this, he would definitely cry out. He was an honest boy from the Heavenly Court. He glanced at the words written above, hundreds of drinks. Even if you beat him to death, he would never give it to her. Canopy Marshal, this sovereign indeed, needs the fragment of the soul pearl Yuan. But even if you give it to me, this sovereign will not be able to assemble the complete soul pearl Yuan. Then, its value will be greatly reduced. When selling goods, they would raise the price to the extreme, and when buying goods, they would lower the price to the extreme. This was a businessman. The canopy marshal clearly agreed with Yi Zichen's words, or rather, he desperately wanted the carbonated drink. Sky Sovereign, how many bottles can you give me? 30 bottles, 100 bottles, 50 bottles, 80 bottles. Let's pick the middle one. 65 bottles, no more. Marshal, you must know that this is a rare item. Yi Zichen's heart was bleeding from 65 drinks. That would be close to 200 yuan. This meant that if he were to sell it, he would be able to earn 20,000 cultivation experience. 20,000 cultivation experience for a broken shard. He didn't think it was worth it. All right, let's do as the Sky Sovereign says. Ding dong. Canopy Marshal directly sent over the fragment of Soul Pearl Yuan. He wasn't afraid of Yi Zichen going back on his word, ignoring the fact that he could take screenshots of their chat. What's more, Yi Zichen was the Sky Sovereign that lived with Tai Bai jinxing. He couldn't blackmail a fragment of him. Yi Zichen put the fragment away, causing the number of fragments of Soul Pearl Yuan to become 5 in the treasure chest. He was only one fragment away from the complete fragment of Soul Pearl Yuan. It seemed very close, but it was actually very far. He didn't know where the last fragment was. If he couldn't get it, then he would be trash. Sky Sovereign, shouldn't you? The Canopy Marshal wanted to say something, but then stopped. Yi Zichen couldn't help but roll his eyes when he saw the Canopy Marshal's desperate look. Please wait, this sovereign needs to go back to the manor to get it. CK, I need to stock up as well, all right? Yi Zichen ran downstairs to buy a few boxes of drinks, then couldn't help but have a thought. In the future, his junk food would definitely become a craze in the Heavenly Court. Rather than having people stock up on supermarkets every day, he might as well open a supermarket himself. At that time, he could just directly scan and send whatever the people in the Heavenly Court wanted. That would also save him the trouble of leaking secrets. Yi Zichen sent the drinks over to the Canopy Marshal. The moment he sent it, the Canopy Marshal directly received it. It was clear that the big bro of the foodie circle, the Canopy Marshal, had been waiting in front of the screen. Sky Sovereign, why is there a bag of noodles on the screen? Tonggong Xiao, it's for you. If you think it's delicious, then help this sovereign promote it in the Heavenly Court. Understood, understood. Thank you, Sky Sovereign. Ding dong. Your intimacy level with the Canopy Marshal increased by 20. Current intimacy level, 120. Yi Zichen put away his phone, then put it away with a smile on his face. From the looks of it, his business would be able to be established in the Heavenly Court before long. At that time, his cultivation experience would come rolling in. However, before that, he had to find time to make a flyer. It was just like the menu of a restaurant. He would list all the items on it. When the great deity wanted something, he just had to send a WeChat transfer. Immediately send it out. When that happens, dearest, remember to give me a 5-star review. Yi Zichen returned to Huang Shengmei's office with a silly smile. Dr. Huang was sitting on the chair without moving, waiting for Yi Zichen to return. Dr. Huang. Huang Shengmei quickly stood up from the chair and said hesitantly, Don't call me Dr. Huang, just call me Shengmei. Only then did Yi Zichen realize that their intimacy level was already close to the level of lovers. Shengmei? Huang Shengmei's heart was a mess of sweetness. She didn't know why, but she just couldn't help but fall for Yi Zichen. It was as if there was a string pulling her closer to Yi Zichen. Oh yeah, your situation is pretty much better. I'll directly help you get discharged later. It's rather expensive to stay in the hospital all the time. It's too much of a waste of money. Also, when you come to change your bandages next time, just directly go to my house. I'll change it for you at home. Yi Zichen truly felt that this sort of rocket-like progress wasn't suitable. He couldn't help but say that Yu Lao's marriage string was truly amazing. When the affability level was high enough, the two of them didn't even need to cultivate their relationship. It just naturally became like this. Okay, I'll help our little brother take a look at his leg when I change his bandages next time. If there's nothing else, then I'll be leaving. Okay, be careful on the road. After leaving Huang Shengmei's office, Yi Zichen leaned against the wall and panted heavily. Lu Jing's delicate face was filled with disdain as she snorted as she walked around him. Scum! How am I scum? Yi Zichen rolled his eyes. I'm telling you, it's fortunate that you're a female ghost. If you're someone, then I wouldn't even let you go. Do you understand? I would completely control you in my hands. Tisk, only a ghost would want you to control me. Lu Qing snorted, while Yi Zichen chuckled. Chapter 86. An ugly daughter-in-law meets her mother-in-law Su Yin held Yi Zichen's arm as they walked side by side on the street. Su Yin couldn't help but ask when she saw the distracted look of the man beside her. What? You have something on your mind. Something on his mind. Yi Zichen really did have something on his mind. Ever since he had the idea of opening a supermarket, he felt that it was more and more reliable. He had been thinking about how he had to find a chance to open a supermarket. It didn't need to be too big, but the warehouse had to be big. There were so many deities in the heavenly court, if he did a lot of business in the future, then he definitely needed to stock up. Su Yin, I want to open a supermarket. Do you think it's reliable? Yi Zichen wanted to ask Su Yan's opinion after thinking about it. Ah! Su Yan was stunned. Yi Zichen smiled when he saw her confused expression. It's fine. Pretend like I didn't say anything. Don't think too much. I just didn't react in time. Why did you suddenly want to open a supermarket? It's just a preliminary idea. It's hard to say whether or not it will open. Oh, all right then. I'll support you no matter what you do. Su Yan leaned on Yi Zichen's shoulder with a smile. Su Yan leaned on Yi Zichen's shoulder with a smile, but at that moment, the phone in his pocket rang. Yume. Yi Zichen smiled when he picked up the call. Su Yan, who was beside him, frowned unhappily. Yume. Woman. All right, I'll be right there. Yi Zichen hung up the call hastily, then saw Su Yan, who was beside him, stare at him with a frown like an angry lion cub. Su Yan, I have to leave for a bit. Go see that Yume. Su Yan's tone was very strange. Yi Zichen nodded with a coy smile. Flirting. Su Yan frowned, then pushed his arm away with a snort. Hurry up and go. But I'm a legal wife, you know. Also, come with me to that high school reunion. At Mayu Jewelry. Fatty Bai sat on the chair opposite Xiao Yume, while a share transfer contract was placed in front of him. Yume. Yi Zichen pushed open the office door and walked in. Xiao Yume's eyes lit up, while a faint blush surfaced on her face. Zichen, Director Bai has drafted the share transfer contract. Xiao Yume pointed at the contract on the table. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows and walked beside Fatty Bai. Fatty Bai quickly stood up from his chair and smiled apologetically. Young Master Yi. The contract on the table was indeed a share transfer document. 51% of Dafa Jewelry's shares were unconditionally transferred. Yi Zichen looked at the transfer contract, then sat on the sofa in the office with a smile. Director Bai, you're really willing to part with your hard-earned capital. Young Master Yi, don't say that. You have a lot of raw stones in your hands, and Mr. Xiao has used these raw stones to expand his business several times in a short period of time. This is obvious to everyone in my circle. I'm taking out half of the shares to work with young Master Yi, so I'm the one taking advantage. CEO Bai smiled like a grandson, and the fat on his face showed several layers of wrinkles. Yi Zichen's eyes flashed playfully. Really? Did CEO Bai take advantage of me? That won't do. I don't like to suffer losses. Why don't you give me some more shares, CEO Bai? Fatty Bai's face immediately darkened. If he wasn't threatened, he wouldn't even be willing to take out his 51% shares. This was the foundation that he had painstakingly built up. Yi Zichen smiled meaningfully when he saw Fatty Bai's sullen expression, then stood up from the sofa. Just kidding, Director Bai. Don't be nervous. Yi Zichen patted Fatty Bai's shoulders and pointed at the contract on the table. Both sides' lawyers are here. If there's no problem, then sign it. Sure. Director Bai picked up a pen and wrote down his name on the contract, then handed it to Xiao Yume. Just as Xiao Yume was about to sign, Yi Zichen stopped her with a smile. I'll sign it. Yi Zichen signed his name on the contract without caring about other people's reactions. Fatty Bai's expression turned extremely ugly. Yi Zichen asked in confusion. However, Yi Zichen asked in confusion. Director Bai, what happened to you? Are you not feeling well? This isn't good. You're the major shareholder of my jewelry store in the future. Your health is very important. Thank you for young Master Ye's concern. I'm fine. That's good. All right, since you signed the contract, you can leave now, Director Bai. I'll go to my jewelry store to inspect it in a few days. Okay. When Bai Dehai left the office with an ashen face, Xiao Yumei asked in confusion. Only then did Xiao Yumei ask in confusion, Zichen, why did you have to sign that contract just now? Didn't you say to merge his jewelry store with mine? This fatty is a bit weird. No matter what, that jewelry store is his life's work. It's too weird to just give it away like that. So, it's like this. Xiao Yumei nodded in understanding. At this moment, Yi Zichen licked his lips and walked over. Meijia. Yi Zichen wrapped his arm around Xiao Yumei's waist and pushed her onto the office table. Don't. Not here. Xiao Yumei's face instantly turned bright red, while she pushed Yi Zichen's shoulders with her fair hands. No worries, they won't dare to come in. With that, Yi Zichen pecked down without any hesitation. In an instant, the room was filled with the color of spring. Daddy, Mommy, where are we going? Tian laid in Yi Zichen's arms and said childishly, Go stay at Daddy's place. Yi Zichen rubbed Tiantian's hair. The two of them had discussed it the day before. For Tiantian's safety, they were going to let her stay here. Xiao Yumei, who was driving, had a nervous blush on her face. She was about to see her mother-in-law. She didn't know what would happen. Don't be nervous. Actually, Yi Zichen was even more nervous than Xiao Yumei. He had just let Su Yin and his mom meet in the afternoon, and he brought another one back in just a few hours. He really didn't know what his mom would think. Within a mansion, Mother Yi was sitting in the courtyard in a daze. Yi Zichen let out a long sigh and smiled. Mom, Zichen came back. You and Lil. Yi Rong was stunned when she turned around. She had thought that it was just Yi Zichen, but who would have thought that? He brought back a family. Hello, Auntie. I'm Xiao Yumei. Xiao Yumei's nervousness was displayed from head to toe. It was the nervousness of a daughter-in-law meeting her in-laws. On the other hand, Yi Zichen was no less nervous than Xiao Yumei. His Adam's apple bobbed up and down, while he scratched his head in confusion. Hello. Mother Yi didn't seem to have recovered from the shock. At that moment, Tian ran over with a giggle. Hello, Grandma. Good. What a cute little fellow. Tiantian's appearance immediately caused a kind smile to surface on Yi Rong's face and broke the stalemate in the courtyard. Hurry up and come in. Yi Zichen held Tiantian's hand and smiled toward Xiao Yumei, then glared at Yi Zichen fiercely. Seeing that, Yi Zichen's heart skipped a beat. Chapter 87. The information Yi Rong revealed. You're truly irresponsible. Lu Jing floated beside Yi Zichen with a look of disdain. Yi Zichen put out the cigarette in his hand on the rubbish bin beside him, then stretched lazily and knocked her head. What do you know? Yi Rong was his real mother. How could he, as her son, not understand? In this sort of situation, having Xiao Yumei talk to his mother alone was the best way to deal with it. If he was there, it would only make the situation even more awkward. TSK, what are you pretending for? Lu Jing twitched her mouth at Yi Zichen's back, then floated beside him. Yi Zichen put his hands on his waist and looked at the endless gravel path. It seems like Lil White really let loose these few days. He actually ran out to have fun instead of staying at home to look after the house properly. Yi Zichen thought to himself that he was definitely going to teach Lil White a lesson when he caught him. However, at that moment, a poodle appeared from the other side of the gravel path with its proud head and a group of dogs several times larger than it. When Yi Zichen looked over, who else could the poodle be other than Lil White? Lil White. Yi Zichen called out. The poodle immediately looked up and revealed an excited expression, then ran over with its tongue out. Boss, you're finally back. I've been starving these past few days. Lil White stuck out its tongue and continuously rubbed its head against Yi Zichen's pants. Slap! Yi Zichen raised his hand and slapped Lil White's head, causing Lil White to fall over. The dogs that followed Lil White barked loudly and leaped towards Yi Zichen. Little White quickly jumped up and stood in the middle, barking at the group of dogs. What are they talking about? At this time, Lu Qing, the translator, had to go on stage. Lu Qing raised her eyebrows and smiled. Lu Jing raised her eyebrows and smiled. Those dogs seem to be Lil White's underlings. He's lecturing them. As expected, not long later, Lil White ran over to Yi Zichen's pants and rubbed its head against them. The group of dogs that had been glaring fiercely at him also became like pugs at this time, sitting on the ground with their tongues out, staring straight at him. Bang! Yi Zichen lifted his leg and kicked Lil White, then smiled. Not bad. Your days are pretty good. You've even learned how to have underlings. To serve the boss. Little White raised its little paw as if it wanted to salute, but it couldn't lift its leg, so it could only make its action extremely comical. He brought Little White back to the villa. Before he returned, Little White didn't forget to send his subordinates back to the residence. Mom, I found Xiaobai. Yi Zichen followed Lil White back to the mansion. Mother Yi sighed helplessly when she saw Yi Zichen. It seemed like the two of them were pretty much done chatting. Oh, you. Shaking her head, Mother Yi stood up from the sofa and walked into the kitchen. Yi Zichen quickly sat down on the sofa. Xiao Yumei still had a faint blush on her face, as if she still hadn't gotten over their conversation. What did Mom say to you? Actually, it didn't talk much. They just kept praising you. Is that so? She really is my biological mother. After dinner, Xiao Yumei did not stay there. Instead, she returned to her own home. Yi Zichen actually wanted her to stay, but since Xiao Yumei insisted on leaving, he didn't force her. Nighttime, Yi Zichen sat in the living room and watched variety shows. Tian Tian was tired after playing with Lil White for an entire night, so she asked Mother Yi to send her to her room to sleep. Not long later, Yi Rong walked over and sat beside Yi Zichen in her pajamas. Zichen, tell Mom, did that girl called Xiao Yumei, and what's going to happen will happen in the end. Yi Zichen licked his lips and nodded. Then what about Su Yan? I can tell that she likes you a lot. I know. What do you want to do? Give up on who? Yi Zichen hesitated for a moment, then smiled helplessly. Mom, if I say that I don't want to give up on anyone, would you think that my son is terrible? How could I? You're my son. How could a mom say anything bad about her son? Yi Rong rubbed Yi Zichen's hair. I'm just worried that Xiao Yumei and Su Yin are both good girls. They probably don't know each other's existence yet, right? Yi Zichen shook his head. I knew it. Mother Yi sighed. Mother Yi sighed lightly and said, You've grown up now. Mother won't care so much about you. Just one thing, don't let down the feelings these two children have for you. Don't be like your dad. What happened to my dad? Yi Zichen's expression changed. Mother Yi also quickly stopped and stood up from the sofa. I'm worried about leaving Tian Tian alone in the room, so I'm going back. You rest early too. Mom, my daddy bang. What he got in return was the merciless sound of the door closing. Yi Zichen sat down on the sofa, then raised his eyebrows and lit a cigarette for himself. Yi Zichen had never known who his father was since he was young. His mother had always brought him up, and he had taken his mother's surname. Although so many years had passed, and his desire to know who his father was had already faded. Even so, Mother Ye's words just now still caught Yi Zichen's attention. Yi Zichen thought back to Mother Ye's tone, as well as what she said. Could it be that man let Mother Yi down? Creak. Thinking that, Yi Zichen couldn't help but clench his fist. If that really was the case, then he would definitely make that man pay the price. 3 days later. Hi Ji, there's no need to make it so grand, right? Yi Zichen couldn't help but smile wryly as he looked at the brand new Porsche 918 parked beside him. He had just casually mentioned to Xiao Hai a while ago that he was going to attend a class reunion with Su Yan. It seemed like there would be some rich people there, so he asked him to lend him a car to use. Now, Xiao Hai directly got the 918 back for him without saying anything. What grand, isn't this your car? The 4S store told me to pick it up a while ago, but I didn't have the time to do it. Xiao Hai laughed softly. But there's no need to drive a 918, right? That's too high profile. You have so many cars. Just lend me an Audi or a BMW or something to drive. Yi Zichen smiled wryly, while Xiao Hai cursed as if he didn't live up to his expectations. Too young. Too naive. Do you think that a class reunion is really a gathering of old classmates to chat? Why is there a class reunion? To put it bluntly, it's just for the strong to act pretentiously in front of the weak and the weak to act like a grandson in front of the strong to climb higher. Although you aren't Su Yin and the other's classmate, don't forget your identity, boyfriend. Young lady Su Yin is old man Su's darling. If you make her too cold, then wouldn't that be embarrassing for young lady Su? Xiao Hai pointed out, as if he was experienced. Yi Zichen sighed softly and wanted to tell Hai Ji some truth. However, when he saw Xiao Hai's fervent look, he swallowed those words back down. All right, I understand. I knew that you would get it right away. Xiao Hai patted Yi Zichen's shoulders with a laugh. He seemed as excited as if he was attending a class reunion. Yi Zichen could only smile dryly. Chapter 88. Yi Zichen, the Gu family? Bingqing Su family. Lily, have a cup of tea. Old man Su personally poured a cup of Hong Pao tea for Yi Zichen. This caused Yi Zichen to feel extremely flattered, so he quickly stood up to receive the tea. Old man Su, you don't have to be so polite. Little Yi, you are this old man's savior. Pouring you a cup of tea is nothing. Old man Su revealed a look of displeasure. It had to be said that after the old man was pulled back from the gates of hell by Yi Zichen, his body had become much stronger, and his complexion was much better than before. His entire being was brimming with energy. From this, it could be seen that this peach of immortality was truly an immortal item. When he had time, he had to get a few more immortal peaches from the heavenly court. Yi Zichen thought silently. What was the most important thing in life? Their lives were the most important. If this kind of thing that could increase a person's lifespan were to be placed in the circle of the rich, it would probably fetch a sky-high price. For people at their level, money was just a bunch of numbers. Exchanging a bunch of useless numbers for 10 or 20 years of lifespan, they would definitely be very willing. Of course, the prerequisite was they had to believe that this thing could really increase their lifespan. Xiaoyi, are you here to look for my granddaughter? After a cup of tea, old Master Su revealed a faint smile. Yi Zichen nodded with a smile. Su Yin said that she has a reunion, so she wants me to go with her. Really? Looks like you're developing well with my granddaughter. Su Qian smiled with satisfaction. He rubbed his chin with his right hand and said, I definitely support you being with my granddaughter. You have to work hard. There are many people chasing after my granddaughter. Yi Zichen nodded, but couldn't help but mutter to himself. Your precious granddaughter has already been taken by me. The marriage string's 500 favorable impression points couldn't be deceived. Lover relationship confirmed. They were lovers. By the way, Elder Su, I heard that you gave away the monkey wine. I'll give you another gourd. Elder Su's eyes immediately lit up. He even pushed the Hong Pao on the table aside. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Yi Zichen signaled Elder Su to calm down with a smile, then opened the treasure chest and took out the monkey wine. Here. Yi Zichen placed the gourd on the table. Su Qian already knew how mysterious Yi Zichen was when he was in ghost form, so he didn't need to hide anything from him. Elder Su raised his eyebrows without batting an eyelid. Even though he had seen this scene before, he was still a little shocked. But soon his attention was attracted by the monkey wine. He pulled out the cork and took a sip. After so long, this wine is still the most comfortable. Old Master Su leaned back in his chair with a satisfied expression. The fragrance of the monkey wine soon spread throughout the entire courtyard. Su Qihu followed the smell of the wine and came over, just in time to catch Elder Su, who was secretly drinking. Dad, why did you drink again? When he noticed Yi Zichen, who sat opposite Elder Su, his expression turned a bit unnatural. In his heart, he truly looked down on Yi Zichen. Rogue, ruffian, profiteer. Yi Zichen had everything that a loser should have. He couldn't bear to hand his precious daughter over to this kind of person, but it just had to be this person that he looked down on. When the old man was critically ill, the doctors in the hospital, and even the experts he had personally invited were unable to save him. It was him who stood up and saved old Master Su. He even made a bet with him, a bet for his daughter's happiness. All of a sudden, Su Qihu's gaze towards Yi Zichen carried a hint of complexity. Yi Zichen laughed softly and stood up. Uncle Su. Su Qihu clearly didn't think that Yi Zichen would actually greet him. A rare and stiff smile appeared on his serious face to show friendliness. At the same time, old Master Su also spoke up. Can you stop staring at me every day? Isn't the military not busy anymore? What's more, even if something happens to me while drinking, isn't Lil Yi here? What's more, Lil Ye's wine is different from normal wine. Yeah, this wine was different from other wine. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Elder Su might have gotten old, and all of his functions had declined, but he still had the wine that Yi Zichen gave him. As long as Elder Su drank his wine, then his body would only get better and better. Why did Elder Su suddenly enter the hospital that day, and why the doctor declared that it was useless? More importantly, Elder Su told him to pass on a message to Su Qihu that day. An obscure light flashed through Yi Zichen's eyes, but his heart grew incomparably heavy. Yi Zichen, let's go. At that moment, Su Yin stood outside the pavilion and waved at him. When Elder Su saw this scene, he chuckled and said, "Little Yi, go ahead." "All right, old Master Su, Uncle Su, I'm leaving." When Yi Zichen and Su Yin left the courtyard, Su Qihu sat down on the seat that Yi Zichen just sat on and looked at old man Su with a frown. "Dad, don't tell me you really want to get Yin and that guy together." "What's wrong with that?" A dark light flashed through old man Su's eyes. "Lil Yi saved my life. Moreover, Su Yin really likes Lil Yi. Isn't it a good thing for them to be together?" "That's true, but I know what you want to say." Old man Su interrupted Su Qihu's words and sighed meaningfully. "Qihu, don't you think that Lil Yi is very similar to someone from a certain family?" Su Qihu was stunned. A family that could make old man Su mention the word family. Then it was definitely from the capital. However, no matter how hard he thought, he couldn't think of just which family this unscrupulous brat, Yi Zichen, could be related to. The Gu family. Seeing that Su Qihu didn't speak up, old man Su cursed in disappointment. The Gu family. Su Qihu, who sat on the chair, opened his eyes wide. One had to know that there were very few things that could cause a ripple in someone of his status. However, the Gu family was not as simple as a ripple. It was a huge wave. I told you a long time ago that you have to learn to read people. You've been in the army for so long. Although I've never interfered with your career, I'm still there, so they would more or less care about my face. But why are you only a colonel now? Su Qihu remained silent. He was indeed like what old man Su said. He wasn't sly enough. Judging a person was based on their appearance. If he thought they were good, then so be it. If he thought they weren't, then so be it. This caused him to offend quite a few people in the army. If it wasn't for old man Su, he might not even be a colonel. Then you said that Brad is someone from the Gu family? After a long while, Su Qihu licked his dry lips and asked. The Gu family was definitely a huge existence in the capital. They were different from the other famous families in the capital. They were very mysterious. They were above any family in the capital. I'm just guessing. Even if Lil Yi isn't a member of the Gu family, I still support Lil Yin and Lil Yi being together. From now on, don't bother with their matters. Young people have their own ways of living. Old man Su raised his wine gourd and poured himself another mouthful. Su Qihu couldn't help but nod after a moment of silence. He did look down on Yi Zichen, but there were some things that caused him to have a better impression of Yi Zichen. Chapter 89. Class Reunion. Su Yin sat in the front passenger seat. The phrase "clothes make the man" was applicable to everyone. Su Yin always dressed very casually in school. She seemed to have specially dressed up for the class reunion, and even put on some light makeup. All of a sudden, the goddess leveled up to the level of an angel. Actually, the reason why she put on makeup wasn't for the class reunion. It was purely for Yi Zichen. Women put on makeup for the person they like. She didn't take the class reunion too seriously at all. She just wanted Yi Zichen to pay more attention to her. Fortunately, her idea came true. From a moment Su Yin called out to Yi Zichen's gaze was constantly on her. Su Yin felt great when she felt the gaze of the man beside her. "What did my grandpa talk to you about?" "You two started talking the moment you came in." Su Yin combed her hair. Yi Zichen gulped and smiled. "What else can we talk about?" "He just said that he wants to hurry up and hug his great-grandson." "Do you think that old man Su wants me to eat you up quickly?" "TSK, Grandpa wouldn't say that," Su Yin snorted. "You still don't believe me? As his granddaughter, you definitely know more about old man Su than me, his grandson-in-law, Yi Zichen smiled coquettishly. I'm going to ignore you. Su Yin lowered her head with a blush and continuously played with the corner of her clothes. With her understanding of old man Su, it was indeed possible for him to say that sort of thing. Could Grandpa really have said that to Yi Zichen? Then, all of a sudden, Su Yin was beyond embarrassed. The location of Su Yan's class reunion was a rather high-end business clubhouse. Yi Zichen heard that young Master Bai booked the entire place. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows when he saw the cars parked outside. There were several Audis, BMWs, and so on. There was even a Ferrari. He didn't think that these people were rather rich. Yi Zichen's words weren't mocking. They came from the bottom of his heart. Among university students, it was already very amazing to have an Audi A series or a BMW X series. Yi Zichen casually found a parking spot and stopped. Only then did he notice that his car was extremely eye-catching. Yi Zichen thought to himself that he shouldn't have listened to Xiao Hai's bullshit. However, he moved in front of Su Yan's car door and opened it. Let's go, my princess. At this time, there were already a lot of people standing in the club. This class reunion was similar to a cocktail party. Everyone was holding red wine or champagne in their hands, and no one knew what kind of high-end topics they were talking about. Many of them had brought male or female companions, and some of the female companions were quite good-looking. However, as soon as Su Yin entered, everyone present immediately paled in comparison. All the men in the clubhouse stared blankly at Su Yin, lost in thought, while the surrounding girls frowned unhappily. Her arrival had snatched away all the attention they were enjoying. Su Yan's here. Right in the middle of the hall, a small opening appeared in the crowd. Not long later, an extremely cute girl ran towards Yi Zichen while dragging an especially honest young man. Su Yin. At this moment, Su Yin also raised her head, her beautiful eyes filled with joy. Lin Ru. The two girls immediately held hands and chatted happily, leaving their male companion to the side. They looked at each other and smiled awkwardly. Then Yi Zichen walked up to the honest-looking youth and reached out his hand with a smile. Yi Zichen. When the youth saw Yi Zichen reach out his hand, he politely wiped his hand with a handkerchief, then reached out his hand. Wu Haoyu. Since they knew each other, Yi Zichen immediately showed his natural instincts of being familiar with people. He put his arm around the other person's shoulder with a smile. That's your girlfriend. Sort of. I'm still pursuing her. Wu Haoyu scratched his head honestly. At this moment, Su Yin and Lin Ru both thought of their male companions, but when they saw them put their arms around each other's shoulders, they couldn't help but smile. They're pretty good at finding people. Lin Ru pouted with a giggle. Lin Ru giggled and pouted. When she saw Su Yan's gaze on Yi Zichen, she raised her hand and tickled Su Yan's arm. Su, that's your boyfriend, right? Uh-huh. Su Yan blushed. Lin Ru immediately put on a shocked expression. Wow, the school beauty found a boyfriend. Su Yan didn't reply to Lin Ru, and instead looked at the young man beside Yi Zichen. That person is your boyfriend, right? Lin Ru blushed and twitched her mouth. No way. That person is so stupid. I don't like people like him. As she spoke, she waved her fist towards Wu Haoyu. Coincidentally, Wu Haoyu also looked towards her. When he saw Lin Ru look at him, he immediately smiled honestly and scratched his head. Look at him, he's so dumb. Lin Ru stomped her feet angrily. Su Yin couldn't help but smile. It suits you pretty well. When the four of them gathered together, Su Yin continued to hug Zichen's arm like a little woman. On the other hand, Lin Ru and Wu Haoyu sighed. Wu Haoyu followed closely by Lin Ru's side, not daring to say a word. However, his gaze never left her. Su Yin, you came. Just as Yi Zichen and the other three chatted, a loud call sounded out. When Yi Zichen and company turned around, they saw a young man in a suit with shiny hair walk towards them. Beside him was Gao Chong, who had invited Su Yin to the class reunion. Baiyang, he's still so disgusting. Lin Ru twitched her mouth on the side, while Su Yan's expression also turned terrible. He's at young Master Bai? Su Yin nodded softly. Su Yin, why didn't you say anything when you came? The smile on Bai Yang's face instantly froze when he saw Su Yin hug Yi Zichen's arm. Lin Ru giggled. Young Master Bai, what happened? Your expression doesn't look too good. Do you want me to call 120 for you? Wu Haoyu secretly pulled Lin Ru on the side to signal her to leave some face for him. Lin Ru wrinkled her nose, put away her mocking expression, and stood next to Su Yan. Yi Zichen merely watched as Bai Yang's expression changed and did not say anything. After a long while, Bai Yang calmed himself down and walked beside Yi Zichen. After examining him up and down, a hint of disdain flashed across his eyes as he reached out his hand. Bai Yang, Su Yan's pursuer. Bai Yang, don't speak nonsense. Su Yan instantly got a bit annoyed. Yi Zichen patted her hand, then reached his hand over and bowed. Aries? Do the nobles introduce themselves with horoscopes now? Hello. I'm Cancer, Su Yan's current boyfriend. It seems like our horoscopes clash. No wonder we became love rivals. Huh. Lin Ru, who was on the side, couldn't help but laugh. Chapter 90. Wu Haoyu's request. Lin Ru's laughter immediately attracted many people in the club. When they saw Yi Zichen, who was standing between Bai Yang and Su Yan, they immediately understood. Everyone knew about Bai Yang's feelings for Su Yan back in high school, but this time, Su Yan brought a man with her. Looking at how intimate they were, he must be her boyfriend. If this child Bai had a good mood, it would be strange. Quite a few people watched with interest, but there were also quite a few people who mocked Yi Zichen for overestimating himself. What kind of status did young Master Bai have? Even his underwear was enough to buy all of Yi Zichen's clothes. With such a poor appearance, he would be lucky if young Master Bai didn't play him a death. But, from the current situation, it seemed like Yi Zichen had played Bai Yang. Yi Zichen put on a dumbfounded expression, then glanced at Lin Ru, who was laughing heartily without any regard for her ladylike image. What's wrong? Did I say something wrong? Ha ha. It was as if someone had pressed Lin Ru's laughing acupoint. She couldn't control it no matter what. Yi Zichen shrugged innocently. What's going on? You nobles use your horoscope to introduce yourselves, and I also said my horoscope. Why do you keep smiling like that? Tell me what I said wrong. It's my first time in this circle, so I don't know the rules. Sorry. With that, Yi Zichen saluted apologetically. With Wu Haoyu's help, Lin Ru managed to suppress her laughter with great difficulty. But when she saw what had just happened, she couldn't help it. Ha ha! Susu, your boyfriend is too funny. If there was a bed on the floor, Lin Ru would probably be rolling around on it. This time, it was Yi Zichen who was speechless. Was there a need to laugh like that? Was that really funny? Bai Yang also looked at the innocent-looking Yi Zichen with a dark expression. This kid was definitely doing it on purpose. Bai Yang cursed in his heart. Young Master Bai, don't bother with this amusing be***starred. It's degrading. A young man in normal clothes walked out from the side and pulled Bai Yang. Hearing that, Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows and smiled. What's wrong? Are you saying I'm an idiot? What did I say about you? Go back and look at yourself in the mirror. Why don't you take a good look at yourself? You even dare to play tricks on young Master Bai. The young man had made up his mind to establish a relationship with young Master Bai through this. As soon as he spoke, many people around him beat their chests and stamped their feet, secretly wondering why they didn't seize the opportunity. Brother, did you just eat chives? Yi Zichen said calmly. The young man was momentarily stunned. He really did eat chive buns before he came, but how did this kid know? Why do you care? I just wanted to kindly remind you that the chives are stuck to your teeth. Boom. The surrounding students roared with laughter. The young man with leaked teeth also blushed and left the crowd dejectedly. From the looks of it, he must have gone to the bathroom to deal with the vegetable leaves. Ha ha! Other people would only laugh for a while, but Lin Ru seemed to have taken a magnifying glass and magnified it countless times, laughing endlessly. Yi Zichen looked at Lin Ru with concern, then turned to Wu Haoyu. Brother, is she okay? Yi Zichen, why are you so funny? You must be a comedian. Lin Ru laughed so hard that she was about to cry. Yi Zichen smirked. If the bar for being a comedian was so low, then everyone in the world could be a comedian. However, when Lin Ru accidentally mentioned Yi Zichen's name, Bai Yang heard it. I wonder where Brother Yi is from to actually be able to get her school beauty's hand. Bingcheng Polytechnic University. How about it? It's a famous university. Don't be too jealous of me. Yi Zichen once again didn't answer the question, causing Lin Ru to explode in laughter once again. Ha ha! This was a demonic laughter. Good school, good school. Seeing that Yi Zichen wasn't acting according to the norm, Bai Yang raised his eyebrows and smiled. You guys play here, I'll go over there to take a look. AI, Aries, you still haven't told me your name. Bang! Bai Yang staggered and almost fell to the ground. Ha ha! Lin Ru's laughter was demonic. Yi Zichen was unable to endure the devastation of her laughter, so he raised his hand and poked her. Then, Lin Ru couldn't laugh anymore. Don't always laugh like this. Laughing is a good thing, but laughing like this isn't good for your body. Lin Ru touched the spot that Yi Zichen poked at her in shock. Then, she quickly glared at him. Damn pervert, you molested me. Wu Hao Yu, Su Su, are you two going to do something? Lin Ru finally stopped after a long while. Yi Zichen broke out in a cold sweat. It was really hard to imagine that the girl in front of him was on the same level as Su Yin. Her mentality was no different from that of a teenager. Yi Zichen, don't mind it too much. Lin Ru has a childish temper like that. Wu Hao Yu apologized to Lin Ru honestly. Yi Zichen chuckled, then took out 2 cigarettes from a box and handed one to him. I'm not that kind of petty person. I was indeed thinking for her sake just now. Brother Yi studies medicine? Wu Hao Yu lit the cigarette and asked in a testing manner. Sort of. Yi Zichen answered ambiguously. Wu Hao Yu smiled on the side. Don't be humble. Being able to find a person's acupuncture point so quickly and accurately is already very extraordinary. Yeah, for Yi Zichen, who had received old Lord Taishang's medical inheritance, finding acupuncture points was a small matter. Brother Yi, can I ask you a personal question? A strange expression surfaced on Wu Hao Yu's honest face. Yi Zichen frowned and nodded. Say it. Did you use qi when you poked Lin Ru's acupuncture point just now? Yi Zichen remained silent. Wu Hao Yu quickly explained when he noticed Yi Zichen's expression change. Don't think too much. My family's old man's body isn't too good. I've looked for plenty of Chinese and Western medicine doctors, but his illness hasn't been cured. A while ago, a master told me that in order to cure the old man's illness, a Qigong master is needed. That's why Wu Hao Yu said apologetically, I was too rude just now. I apologize to you here. Yi Zichen sighed in his heart when he saw Wu Hao Yu's sincere expression. Recently, he seemed to be a bit too sensitive. He would get nervous at the slightest bit of trouble. Yi Zichen waved his hand towards him and raised his eyebrows. I did use qi, but I'm not some qigong master. I wonder if I can help the old man. There were many talented people in Huaxia. Yi Zichen did not think that he could be called a qigong master with his shallow knowledge. Wu Hao Yu's eyes brightened when he heard that. No worries, it's fine as long as you can try. But the old man isn't in Bingqing recently, I wonder. Yi Zichen nodded with a smile. Just let me know when the old man comes back. Ta! A series of footsteps suddenly sounded out in the bathroom hallway. Judging from the footsteps, there were quite a few people. Not long later, a group of people appeared in front of Yi Zichen and Wu Hao Yu. The person in the lead was Bai Yang. Oh, you have to form a group to go to the bathroom? Wow, your circle is really amazing. Yi Zichen shook his head with a sigh, then threw the cigarette but onto the floor and stepped on it to extinguish it, then walked out with Wu Hao Yu. However, Bai Yang, who stood at the very front, reached out his hand to stop them. Chapter 91. Conflict. Yi Zichen chuckled, a hint of playfulness tugging at the corners of his lips. This grandson had rushed over at this time, and he had even brought a group of lackeys with him. It was obvious that he wasn't just here to pee. You have quite a mouth. Bai Yang narrowed his eyes in disdain. When Yi Zichen heard that, he raised his eyebrows in shock. How did you know that I have a sharp mouth? Did your sister tell you about our relationship? Hearing this, Bai Yang was stunned for a moment. She did have an elder sister, but what did this kid have to do with her elder sister? However, when he saw the mocking smile on Yi Zichen's face, he finally reacted. His entire face turned ashen. You're courting death. No. I'm only in my 20s. I haven't lived long enough. How could I court death? Yi Zichen waved his hand left and right, then shrugged with a smile as he looked at Bai Yang's gloomy expression. Don't worry about me here. Hurry up and go in. But a friendly reminder, there are only 4 urinals inside. It seems like you guys have to line up first. Do you want to play rock, paper, scissors here? I could be a fair judge for you guys. Kid, how can you talk to young Masterby like that? The one who spoke was the young man with the vegetable leaf in his teeth. The smile on Yi Zichen's face instantly disappeared when he saw him. I'm talking to your master. What are you barking for? The youth's face instantly turned bright red. Yi Zichen grinned coldly, but a cold light flashed through his eyes. Looks like you don't need me to be the referee. Step aside then. If you want to beat a dog, you have to look at its owner. Haven't you heard of this before? A faint smile surfaced on by Yang's gloomy face. Yi Zichen raised the corner of his mouth and nodded. Indeed, as a dog owner, you're nothing in my eyes. Hurry up and take your dog to pee. You should have heard the phrase, good dogs don't block the way, right? Yi Zichen, don't be so ungrateful. Bai Yang's tone gradually turned cold, and the dogs behind him also took a step forward. Bai Yang, what do you want? The simple and honest Wu Haoyu also stood up at this moment, and Bai Yang saw the disdain in his eyes. Kid, if it's none of your business, then stand to the side. You're quite lucky to be able to climb up to Miss Lin. I really can't afford to offend her. But don't even think about acting all high and mighty. You're just a pretty boy. Wu Haoyu raised his finger and shook it with a disdainful sneer. For the first time, anger appeared on his simple and honest face. He frowned and wanted to argue, but Yi Zichen patted his shoulder and pulled him back. Yi Zichen walked to Bai Yang's side with a smile, then looked up and stared straight at Bai Yang as he spat out 3 words clearly. Get lost. Calf. Son. Su. Where did you find such a funny boyfriend? He's really funny. Lin Ru's sense of humor was frighteningly low. Even now, when she recalled the scene just now, she couldn't help but laugh. Su Yin chuckled and lowered her head, not saying a word. Lin Ru, who was at the side, it'd be great if Wu Haoyu could be half as humorous as your boyfriend. He's like a winter melon every day, so silly. Actually, that boy is not bad. I can see that he really likes you. Su Yin giggled. Lin Ru blushed for some reason, but she still tried to be brave. Who wants him to like me? He's like a block of wood. Saying one thing, but saying another was a common problem of women. Su Yin could feel that Lin Ru actually cared quite a bit about that simple and honest boy. Yi Zichen smiled and didn't continue the topic. At that moment, Gao Chong walked over from the side with a wine glass. Lin Ru, Su Yin. When she greeted Lin Ru, Gao Chang's expression clearly carried caution. However, when it came to Su Yin, it became much more normal. What did you come here for? Lin Ru raised her eyebrows. If she remembered correctly, he was the only one who had ever lived. If she remembered correctly, this woman was standing beside Bai Yang when he came over to cause trouble. She originally didn't have any enmity towards Gao Chong, but she didn't like her when she got involved with Bai Yang. Lin Ru, I came to say a few things to Su Yin. Gao Chong smiled apologetically. Lin Ru raised her eyebrows and looked at Su Yin. At this moment, Su Yin also retracted the gentleness on her face. If you still want to matchmake me and Bai Yang, then I think you shouldn't waste your breath. Su Yin, how is young master by not better than that guy? Not as good as him. The coldness on Su Yin's face became even more obvious. Gao Chong, we're high school classmates. I don't want this matter to end up in a bad situation. Gao Chang's face darkened. Young Master Bai had promised her that if she could matchmake Su Yin and him, he would give her a sports car. A sports car? If she had a sports car, wouldn't she be able to go fishing for rich guys in the future? Su Yin, I think you're really stupid. Hey, wait a minute. Lin Ru stood up from the side and said playfully, what's wrong with Su Yan's boyfriend? He's so funny, didn't you see? When Lin Ru was in high school, her teacher had accidentally revealed her identity. The 3rd generation of the imperial capital. This identity allowed Lin Ru's status to be extraordinary during high school. Very few people dared to have any arguments with her. If it was in the past, she definitely wouldn't dare to refute Lin Ru's words. For the sake of a sports car, Gao Chong was willing to go all out. Can humor be used to make a living? A hint of disdain flashed across Gao Chang's eyes. Women have to treat themselves better. Isn't finding a big tree that they can rely on much better than those people who only know how to shoot their mouths off? Young Masterby is young and promising. He's not bad-looking, and he's also rich. Su Yin, why don't you understand? That Bai Yang is so good. Why don't you follow him? Lin Ru twitched her mouth on the side. Gao Chang couldn't help but roll her eyes when she heard that. If young Masterby could like her, then why wouldn't she? If she had the chance, she even wanted to take off all her clothes and send herself onto young Masterby's bed. Dong! At that moment, a huge sound rang out from the washroom. Lin Ru and Su Yin looked at each other, then ran over. Grandson, Grandpa has been unhappy with you for a long time. Do you know? Yi Zichen frowned as he looked at Bai Yang, who was lying on the wall of the washroom with blood flowing out from the corner of his mouth. I'm telling you, Su Yin is Laozi's woman. Laozi's woman, do you know what that means? Bang! Yi Zichen kicked Bai Yang's body once again, causing him to slide 7 or 8 meters away. The lackeys on the side were a bit shocked. This Yi Zichen's attack was too sudden. He attacked without saying a single word. What's more, his hands were too black. Yi Zichen practically beat Bai Yang until he lost his ability to move. Yi Zichen walked towards him and squatted in front of him. He subconsciously raised his hand to protect his face, but what welcomed him was a heavy punch to his stomach. Chapter 92. Jing Wan's team is formed. When everyone arrived at the scene, Yi Zichen and Wu Haoyu had already walked out. The security of the clubhouse hurried over after hearing the sound. Plenty of people thought that something was going to happen to Yi Zichen and Wu Haoyu. But who would have thought, boss? The security guard walked over respectfully. Wu Haoyu's simple and honest face also showed a hint of coldness. Send young Masterby to the hospital. I will pay for the medical expenses. Arrange for someone to apologize to the Bai family. If they want an explanation, tell them to come find me. Understood. The security personnel carried Child Bai out of the club. All the onlookers were shocked by this scene. No one had expected that the simple and honest young man who had always been with Lin Ru was the owner of this club. Yi Zichen was also stunned. Wu Haoyu also smiled apologetically. I'm sorry that such a thing happened in my territory. Ha! What's there to be sorry about? Yi Zichen shrugged with a smile. We didn't lose out, did we? You're right. Only then did Su Yin and Lin Ru rush over. Zichen, are you hurt? Su Yin looked him up and down worriedly. Yi Zichen raised his hand and caressed her long hair with a smile. How could that kind of player injure me? I didn't want to talk to him at first, but he forced me to use force. At the same time, Yi Zichen also glanced at Gao Chang, who was shivering. When she came here just now, she happened to see Child by being carried away by the security personnel of the club. All of a sudden, she felt a bit worried. She was afraid that Yi Zichen would go berserk and do something to her. Don't be nervous. Don't gossip in front of my girlfriend anymore, okay? Although Yi Zichen said it as a question, the certainty in his tone caused Gao Chang to nod like a chick pecking at grains. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows, then swept his gaze over the surrounding people and held Su Yan's hand. Let's go. There's no point in participating in this reunion. Wu Haoyu, let's go. Lin Ru pursed her pink lips and called out. The majestic Wu Haoyu immediately returned to his simple and honest self. He nodded and followed. Hey, Porsche 918. Wow, whose car is this? As soon as she stepped out of the door, Lin Ru was attracted by the sports car. Wu Haoyu frowned, then suddenly thought of Yi Zichen's name. Susu, do you want us to send you back? Lin Ru and Wu Haoyu circled around the car twice, then walked to the side of the only Panamera and waved at them. There's no need. He drove here. Su Yin shook her head. Yi Zichen took out his car keys and walked in front of the eye-catching Porsche 918. See you later. Yi Zichen waved towards Lin Ru and Wu Haoyu with a smile, then drove away. Gao Chang, who was in the club, was completely dumbfounded. Porsche 918. For a moment, she grabbed her hair. What the hell have I done? Lin Ru was also quite shocked by this scene. However, she was someone who had seen much of the world. After a moment of surprise, she punched Wu Haoyu. Young man, you have to work hard. Susu's boyfriend is better than you. After sending Su Yin back to the Su family and declining Elder Su's invitation, Yi Zichen directly went to a small coffee shop near Polytechnic University. When Yi Zichen hurried over, Jingwan was taking pictures with the fans in the shop. He watched this scene with a smile and crossed his arms. Only when the fans all finished taking pictures did he walk over and sit opposite her. The charm of an internet celebrity isn't small. You have fans everywhere. Jingwan smiled, then called the waiter over to order a latte for Yi Zichen. She then pouted, "You can if you want. I can introduce a platform for you. With your level, if you live stream, your fans definitely wouldn't be below mine and your income would be very good." "Don't." Yi Zichen twitched his mouth. "If I really want to become famous, there are plenty of ways to do so. A while ago, the boss of Dream Guiding personally came over to invite me to join their company, but I refused. I'll treat what you said as the truth." Jingwan smiled, while her beautiful eyes rippled. "It seems like I'm just bragging." Yi Zichen sighed helplessly. "Jingwan, you're an internet celebrity. Why did you find me in such a hurry? Is it really to treat me to coffee?" Jingwan smiled, then took out a document from her bag and chucked it over. Yi Zichen flipped to the first page. "Start Gaming, DSG, team member list. You really are persistent." Yi Zichen smiled helplessly as he flipped open the document. It recorded the team members and their positions in detail. The first two positions weren't bad. Mid, jungler, ADC. All of them had high scores in the champion group in Zone 1. Their win rates were rather high, and their hero pool was pretty good. However, Yi Zichen was shocked when he saw the support position. "Wait, you, the boss, are going to play personally?" Yi Zichen was truly impressed. The first player in the support position was actually Jingwan herself. Of course, her team didn't have any substitutes. But this was too weird. He had played League of Legends for so long and watched so many matches, but he had never heard of any club owner going to play professionally. Jingwan didn't say anything with a blushing face. The team had just been established, so the members weren't complete yet. She actually didn't want to play either. It wasn't because it would be embarrassing for the club owner to play. It was because she really wasn't suited to play. If it was a live stream, she might be able to carry for 2 rounds. However, if it was in a match, then her skill level would be clearly too low. Yi Zichen continued to flip to the back and saw that there was only the top lane position left. However, when he saw the top lane position, Yi Zichen suddenly shook his head. "She isn't suited to play this position. And I don't know what method you use to get Xia Kiki into your team. Of course, her technique might be pretty good, but she isn't suited to play as a top lane. But she's not suited to play as a top player, or rather, she's not suited to play professionally." "Why?" Jingwan frowned. "Xia Kiki is too impulsive. She gets carried away too easily, and her playstyle isn't proper. What's more, she doesn't admit defeat. If anyone beats her up, even if she knows that it's suicide, she will still fight them head-on. This kind of player is troublesome in a match." Yi Zichen chucked the document in his hand over and leaned back. "I can't help but praise your persistence. You were actually able to form a team after such a setback. I can see your determination from this. However, it's still too rash." Yi Zichen knocked on the coffee table and said, "Establishing a team doesn't just require 5 members. Behind it, there needs to be various data analysts, team coaches, and operations managers. Your team doesn't have any of that. To put it bluntly, your team is no different from kids playing house." Jingwan's face, which was brimming with confidence and pride at the start, gradually turned gloomy. Yi Zichen saw all of this. He couldn't bear it, but he still had to add insult to injury. Chapter 93. Gambling Fight. Jingwan looked up in a daze. She never would have thought that things would turn out like this. She had mustered up her courage to find Yi Zichen in order to let him see her determination and invite him to the team. However, he actually didn't even allow Xia Kiki to participate. "Kiki has her own thoughts. What right do you have to make decisions for her?" Jingwan bit her lips while anger surfaced on her face. "I'm doing this to be responsible for your team and also for Xia Kiki. She definitely isn't suitable for this sort of industry. If your team has her, then you might not even be able to pass the A-League." Good advice was unpleasant to the ear, but there was definitely a basis for it. Just like the current Yi Zichen, Everything he said to Jing Wan was definitely for her sake, but it was clear that the current her was unable to accept it. Jing Wan bit her lips, and her eyes sparkled. After a long while, she looked up as if she had made up her mind and said with determination, "Follow me to the base." Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows when he saw the base that Jing Wan had built. Only at that moment did he truly feel Jing Wan's determination to build a team. For example, Yi Zichen had thought that it would be pretty good if it was a duplex, but Jing Wan directly got a mansion. What made him even more speechless was that this mansion, it was right in front of his house. It was right in front of the door. He was afraid that Lil White would chase after him. How is it? The location is pretty good, right? Jing Wan raised her delicate chin proudly. Yi Zichen smiled, but continued to urge her, "Don't worry, I'll be fine. Hurry up and go in." "Hey, okay." A hint of pride surfaced on Jing Wan's pretty face. She had naively thought that the base she chose scared Yi Zichen. "That's what you get for giving me a sour face every time. I'll make you even more shocked when we go in." Jing Wan thought proudly in her heart. "Kiki, do you remember what you said just now?" A long-haired boy with glasses sat beside Xia Kiki. The boy looked to be only 17 or 18 years old, while the immaturity on his face had yet to fade. "I don't know what I said to you just now." Xia Kiki pushed the keyboard away, then stood up from the chair and walked towards the sofa in the living room. The boy quickly chased after her and grabbed her arm. "Kiki, you can't go back on your words. Didn't you just say that you liked people who were better than you at games? In the solo match just now, I won 3 out of 5. Di Xinpeng, I only said that I like you. I didn't say that I would like you if you win. Then why are you competing with me? When people ask me to solo, I've never rejected them." Xia Kiki pouted her pink lips. She had just said it casually. Adding on the fact that the other party had challenged her to a duel, her stubborn temper immediately made her agree. She didn't expect that her unintentional words would cause such a huge reaction from Di Xinpeng. Anger appeared on Di Xinpeng's childish face. He stuck out his finger and was speechless for a long time. The corners of Xia Kiki's mouth twitched. She stealthily stood up from the sofa and moved closer to the villa's door. "I tell you, don't you dare do anything to me. I have a boyfriend. If you dare to touch me, he won't let you off." As he approached the door, he tried to calm Di Xinpeng down. Bang! Xia Kiki, who was retreating, bumped into Yi Zichen, who had just entered with Jing Wan. "Ayo, who is it?" Xia Kiki looked back with a frown. When she saw Yi Zichen, who had a helpless expression, she directly leapt over. "Why did you come?" Yi Zichen scratched his head when he felt the undisguised joy in Xia Kiki's tone. However, he could feel the hostility from not far away. "You're Xia Kiki's boyfriend?" Di Xinpeng pursed his lips, while intense sparks flashed in his eyes. Yi Zichen was stunned for a moment. However, Xia Kiki, who was in his arms, raised her chin and snorted. "Yeah, he's my boyfriend. He's 10,000 times better than you when it comes to games. Then let's compete. Let's compete." Nobody asked for Yi Zichen's opinion before the two of them directly started fighting. Yi Zichen looked at the two of them, who were fighting each other, in confusion. "What's going on?" Not long later, Xia Kiki told Yi Zichen everything that had happened. With that, Yi Zichen didn't accept the challenge, nor did he investigate the childishness of the two children. Instead, he turned around and looked towards Jing Wan. "See, this is also one of the disadvantages. Xia Kiki definitely can't join your team. I think you should find another player." Jing Wan didn't think that something like this would actually happen while she wasn't here. "Hey, what right do you have to stop Xia Kiki from joining this team?" Di Xinpeng was already unhappy before Jing Wan said anything. "Isn't it obvious? How could I let my girlfriend risk her life here when there's someone with ulterior motives like you in the team?" Yi Zichen rolled his eyes speechlessly. Hearing him admit that she was his girlfriend, Xia Kiki's face instantly turned red. Ding dong. Your affability level with Xia Kiki increased by 50. Current affability level, 220. Di Xinpeng was instantly speechless. He was indeed interested in Xia Kiki, or rather, it was love at first sight. The first time he saw Xia Kiki, he felt like his heart had been stolen away. To put it bluntly, it was because this brat had been gaming for too long and suddenly saw a pretty girl like Xia Kiki. It was normal for him to feel moved. Di Shinpeng didn't want to give up, so he clenched his teeth and snorted. Since you could be Keek's boyfriend, you should be pretty good at gaming, right? Let's compete. Best of 5. If I win, then you quit. If you win, then I'll quit. Young people were young people. Yi Zichen laughed when he heard Di Shinpeng's words. What are you thinking? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows, then hooked his arm around Xia Keek's waist. This is my woman. It has nothing to do with you. You're still shamelessly saying that you're quitting? This has nothing to do with you, all right? Ding dong. Your affability level with Xia Kiki increased by 50. Current affability level, 270. Then what do you want? Di Shinping's face turned green and white. Nothing. I don't want to compete with you. You're not my match at all. Yi Zichen, compete with him. Xia Kiki suddenly spoke up. At that moment, Xia Kiki suddenly spoke up. She pouted and snorted. I lost to him in a solo. Help me win it back. Yi Zichen really didn't want to say too much about Xia Keek's competitiveness. He subconsciously glanced at Jingwan and sighed softly, as if to say, "See, this is Xia Kiki. You still want her to play professionally?" At the same time, Di Shinpeng, who didn't give up, also agreed. Yeah, if you're Keek's boyfriend, then win it back for her. If a man can't protect his own woman, then what kind of man is he? Yi Zichen was speechless once again. Those words were so childish. Yi Zichen couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Little brother, are you underage? Di Shinpeng blushed and snorted. I'm going to be an adult soon. Don't change the topic. Are we going to compete or not? Looking at Di Shinpeng's unyielding expression, as well as Xia Keek's expectant expression, Xia Keek's heart sank. Yi Zichen shrugged helplessly. Chapter 94. He misunderstood again. 30 minutes later, Yi Zichen stood up from the chair with a normal expression. Di Shinpeng thought back to his results with a dejected expression. From 3 out of 5, to 4 out of 7, to 5 out of 9, he continuously increased the number of matches he had, and Yi Zichen never refused. However, the final result was his crushing defeat. Are you convinced now? Yi Zichen pursed his lips and smiled as he looked at Di Shinpeng's dejected expression. From the solo match just now, he could feel that this brat truly had a lot of talent for League of Legends. He was also very strong, so Xia Kiki didn't lose out to him. However, the strange thing was that Di Shinpeng chose Yi Zichen as his opponent. I'm convinced. Di Shinpeng was truly convinced. Yi Zichen was the one who chose all the champions after so many matches. What's more, those champions were the ones he played the best. However, he could feel the chasm of difference between him and Yi Zichen from the matches. No matter if it was Yi Zichen's mechanics or awareness, he was much stronger than him. Crushed. He was convinced. If you are, then do you still remember our promise? Everyone revealed a curious expression. None of them heard it when Yi Zichen told Di Shinpeng about the bet. Di Shinpeng nodded, then let out a long sigh and walked in front of Jingwan. Wanjia, let's cancel the contract we signed a while ago. Jingwan was confused. She looked towards Yi Zichen in shock, while an uncontrollable rage gradually surfaced on her face. Yi Zichen, I know you don't think well of my team. You can criticize me for being childish, but don't you think this is a bit too much? Yi Zichen was stunned. What about me? I'm doing this for your own good. All right? For my own good. Jingwan laughed maniacally. You said you're doing this for my own good? Yeah. Yi Zichen, what exactly do you want? Forget about Kiki. She might not be suited to play professionally as a girl, but you're not letting my other members go? I'm telling you no. I can't let him go. Jingwan replied without hesitation. Her pretty face was filled with uncontrollable anger. Please leave. You're not welcome here. No, please leave. Yi Zichen shrunk his neck and walked out of the mansion with Xia Kiki when he saw Jingwan's angry look. As he watched Yi Zichen and Jingwan leave, Di Shinpeng was also confused. He moved his lips in an attempt to say something, but Jingwan interrupted him. Di Shinpeng, didn't you say that you wanted to play professionally? Didn't you say that you wanted to stand on the world stage? Sister Wan, you misunderstood. Di Shinpeng sighed and said, I want to sign a new contract with you. Re-sign the contract? Jingwan didn't quite understand what he meant and couldn't help but ask, What do you mean by re-signing the contract? Just now. Brother, you made a bet with me. He said that if I lose, I'll stay in your team forever. The premise is that your team can play in the Pro League. If your team can't compete at the international level, then this contract doesn't count. Is that what Yi Zichen told you? Jingwan was stunned. He thought, why didn't you say so earlier? Jingwan's heart was filled with guilt when she thought about her attitude towards Yi Zichen. The other party was clearly thinking for her sake, worried about the changes in the team members, but you didn't give me a chance to say it. Di Xinpeng smiled helplessly. Just now who would dare to say anything when you were like that? There was no need to mention how awkward Jingwan felt. She raised her hand and messed up her hair, then bit her lips and didn't say anything for a long time. Yi Zichen felt like he was going to collapse after being kicked out for no reason. He clearly did it for Jingwan's sake. Why did it make it seem like there was a huge grudge between them? Why did Jingwan suddenly get mad? Xia Kiki sighed as she looked at the base behind her. Yi Zichen licked his lips speechlessly. Who knows what's going on with this woman? Yi Zichen twitched his mouth towards the mansion behind him. When he thought about Jingwan's annoyed expression towards him just now, he felt extremely annoyed. Xia Kiki glanced at Yi Zichen's expression, then hugged his arm. Don't be angry. Oh yeah, you told Di Xinping that I'm your girlfriend just now. Here it comes. Yi Zichen knew that Xia Kiki wouldn't let go of this question. I was giving you face back then. You already said that I'm your boyfriend. How embarrassing would it be for you if I said that I'm not? What's more, it's not the first time I pretended to be your boyfriend. You should understand how easy it is. TSK. Xia Kiki wrinkled her nose in annoyance and snorted. I don't want to talk to you. She walked to the side of the A4, then made a face towards Yi Zichen before disappearing from the mansion. Yi Zichen stood on the spot and waved his hand towards her. Lu Jing popped out from the side. Kiki seems to like you. Of course. Even an idiot could feel that Xia Kiki was interested in him. Anyways, I just want to tell you to sort out the relationships around you properly. From what I know, there seems to be only 3. Lu Jing wrinkled her nose. Yi Zichen licked his lips, then returned home. Late at night, Yi Zichen laid on the bed and scrolled through his WeChat on his phone. For some reason, the group seemed rather quiet recently. There were fewer people talking, and no one was sending red packets anymore. Yi Zichen scrolled through the moments of a few deities. It seemed like the people in the heavenly court were having some sort of conclusion meeting. Anyways, the direct effect for Yi Zichen was that he couldn't get any red packets. Ding dong. Yi Zichen's phone vibrated. Yi Zichen's heart also shook. He quickly picked up his phone and saw that the person who sent him the message was Su Yan. Are you asleep? This was the first time Yi Zichen had sent Su Yan a message after adding her on WeChat for so long. But why did she find him so late at night? Could it be that the goddess couldn't sleep and wanted to ask him out? He slapped. Yi Zichen raised his hand and slapped himself. Stop King dreaming. I'm not asleep. What is it? Did you miss me? Yi Zichen smiled. Narcissist. Su Yan's reply was followed by several pouting emojis. Yi Zichen could imagine what she looked like at that moment, causing a smile to involuntarily surface on his face. It's not like it's the first time you've met me. A row of pouting emojis was sent over. Then, Su Yan sent another message. I'm not messing around with you anymore. I called you to talk to you about proper business. Proper business? Yi Zichen was stunned. What business? Didn't you say that you wanted to open a supermarket last time? I did have that thought. I told my older brother to find a few locations for you. Go. Want to take a look if you have time? He didn't think that the proper business Su Yan wanted to talk to him about was actually that. He had merely said it casually. He didn't think that Su Yan would actually remember it. Yi Zichen felt a bit moved in his heart. It seemed like he wasn't just a little important in Su Yan's heart. All right, I'll go and take a look with OL3 tomorrow. It's getting late. I'm going to sleep. Yi Zichen sent a few cute emojis, then put his phone to the side. Supermarket. A supermarket that mainly sold to the Heavenly Court. Perfect. I'll use the few days that the Heavenly Court is having a meeting to set up the supermarket. When their meeting ends, Yi Zichen will start promoting his supermarket cultivation. Chapter 95. Confirms supermarket store Su Yan drove. When he heard from Su Yan that Yi Zichen wanted to open a supermarket, his first thought was that it was unreliable. He more or less understood Yi Zichen's mysteriousness. There was no need to even mention the great recovery pill in his hands. If he needed money, he could take out a few and sell them in the circle of tycoons. It was definitely enough for him to live a carefree life. Yi Zi, why do you want to open a supermarket? Su Yun was confused. Yi Zichen licked his lips with a smile. Isn't it normal for a university student to start a business? What's wrong? You won't let me open a supermarket? It's not that I don't want to. You could do anything you want. Besides, starting a business from a supermarket? What's wrong with that? Start from the bottom. No, are you serious? Su Yun really thought that Su Yin was joking with him, but it didn't seem like it. I'm serious. Yi Zichen nodded non-committally. We looked at quite a few shops just now. The ones I found for you were all commercial streets with a lot of people, and many of them were near the school district. Didn't you like any of them? The locations that Su Yun found were pretty good, but Yi Zichen's original intention wasn't to rely on the supermarket to make money. He wanted to sell goods to the heavenly court. Shaking his head, Su Yun could only sigh helplessly and lead him to the next location. Boss, what do you think? The storefront is definitely big enough, and we can stock up underground. A greasy fatty rubbed his hands and smiled coyly towards Yi Zichen and Su Yun. Su Yun frowned, then looked outside. This place is too remote. Ha! This place is indeed remote, but our prices are also cheap. I don't think so. Yi Zi, what do you think? Su Yun shook his head. If he opened a supermarket here, it would close down in less than 3 months. I think it's not bad. Let's go with it. Who would have thought that Yi Zichen would actually like a place that Su Yun didn't like? This place was indeed out of the way, but to Yi Zichen, it was exactly what he wanted. Yi Zi, did I hear wrongly? Su Yun opened his eyes wide. Yi Zichen shook his head with a smile. You didn't hear wrong. I like this place. I'll buy it. Yi Zichen walked around the store a few more times, then said to the fatty, Have you brought the contract? Sign it. After Su Yun paid for Yi Zichen, the fatty left happily with the contract and money. Yi Zichen nodded towards the shop with a satisfied look. Su Yun walked over speechlessly. Yi Zi, do you really want to open a supermarket? This broken place will definitely lose money. Hey, you don't understand. Yi Zichen patted Su Yun's shoulders with a smile. I'll give you the money for the shop later. I'm a bit tight on money recently. Also, you don't have to get a license. Help me contact the suppliers. All kinds of snacks, drinks. I want them all. Su Yun's knitted eyebrows relaxed, then hooked his arm around Yi Zichen's shoulder. Yi Zi, tell me, what do you want? You don't need a license, you just need the goods. I think there's something wrong with your supermarket. Not telling you. As Yi Zichen chuckled, his phone rang. He looked at the caller ID, then waved towards Su Yun. I'll leave the supply to you. I still have things to do, so I'll be leaving. There definitely wouldn't be any problems with Su Yun watching over the supermarket. But then again, this place was truly out of the way. Yi Zichen stood on the road in a daze for 10-odd minutes before finally getting a taxi. When Yi Zichen arrived at Huang Shengmei's home once again, he was very familiar with the place. Huang, he also rolled over in his wheelchair. Idle you came. Huang Shengmei also walked out with fruits and smiled towards Yi Zichen. Zichen. Yi Zichen was a bit unable to resist the undisguised love in her eyes. Don't be so courteous. Didn't you call me over to treat Huang Yi's leg? Idle. Can you really treat my leg? Huang Yi's eyes were also a bit excited. When Yi Zichen first came, he was too excited to see his idol, so he didn't pay much attention to Yi Zichen's words. Only a few days later did he realize that when Yi Zichen pressed down on his waist a few times, his leg, which he had never felt before, actually started to feel. Don't call me an idol. Just call me Yi Zichen or Big Bro. I feel awkward calling me idol all the time. Okay, Zichen Ji. Huang Yi nodded and had Huang Shengmei push him into the bedroom, while Yi Zichen followed behind. Do you need my help? Huang Shengmei stood beside the bed. Yi Zichen shook his head with a smile. Don't worry. Yi Zichen shook his head with a smile. No need. Go do what you need to do. Okay. Huang Shengmei left the bedroom with a gentle smile. Huang Yi, who was lying on the bed, coincidentally saw his older sister's gentleness. Zichen Ji, what's your relationship with my older sister? Friends. Yi Zichen pressed his hand onto the Huiyang acupoint on Huang Yi's pelvic bone, while energy gradually flowed around his fingertips. Huang Yi didn't seem to pay attention to his body's condition at all, and instead chased after Yi Zichen's words. But I saw that the way my older sister looked at you just now wasn't normal. Is that so? Endure the pain. Yi Zichen used force with his right hand, while the energy from his fingertips flowed into the acupoint. The expression of Huang Yi, who was just chatting with Yi Zichen, suddenly changed, while waves of pain quickly emitted from his mouth. Huang Yi's condition was indeed too serious. He was born paralyzed, and his legs couldn't feel anything from a young age. His internal meridians were extremely blocked. If Yi Zichen wanted to let him recover, he could only unblock the blocked meridians. Rather than letting Huang Yi feel pain bit by bit, Yi Zichen might as well directly give him a wave of pain. Huang Yi, who was lying on the bed, was still crying. Yi Zichen raised his hand and patted his back. Stop shouting. Stop shouting. Tell me how your right leg feels. It hurts. Huang Yi was in so much pain that tears fell out. Yi Zichen rolled his eyes. It definitely hurt. If it didn't hurt, then there wouldn't be anything wrong with his leg. As for the others, it's still a bit itchy. Huang Yi carefully felt the feeling from his right leg. The moment he said that, he was stunned. Wait, his leg shouldn't be able to feel anything. Zichenji, Huang Yi, who reacted, turned his head and looked at Yi Zichen with a look of uncertainty. Don't look at me, endure it. Yi Zichen pressed down on the acupoint again. At the next moment, cries and screams once again sounded out from Huang Yi's bedroom. Huang Xingmei, who was outside, clenched her fist tightly. Every time someone screamed in the bedroom, her heart would ache. However, she was even more expectant. Since Huang Yi could feel pain, it meant that Yi Zichen had a way. After an entire hour, Huang Yi was covered in sweat from the pain, as if he had just been fished out of the water. Yi Zichen didn't relax either. His clothes were soaked in sweat. Zichen, my little brother, Huang Xingmei looked worriedly at Huang Yi, who was lying on the bed. Yi Zichen sat on the floor and panted heavily. His situation is pretty good. Then can he stand up? That was what Huang Xingmei had been worried about. Yes. Yi Zichen pursed his lips and smiled, then said with certainty, Ding dong. Your affability level with Huang Xingmei increased by 10. Current affability level, 500. Your affability level with Huang Xingmei increased. Chapter 96. A destined marriage. Yi Zichen was truly shocked. How did their relationship as lovers get confirmed out of nowhere? He didn't do anything at all. He didn't know how Huang Xingmei's marriage string came out. When he was in the hospital, the affability level also increased. This time, she came to help his little brother take a look at his leg. The affability level directly went to 500. This was too strange. Yi Zichen had to have a proper talk with Yulao when he got back. He had to ask him if he was behind all this. It was fine with the other female companions, but he was truly confused about Huang Xingmei. How's little brother's situation? Yi Zichen could tell from Huang Xingmei's words that she didn't say my little brother. She said little brother. This was already subtly conveying that this was my little brother, and also your little brother. Yi Zichen felt a headache, but he still acted like he didn't know what she was thinking and explained calmly. His situation is rather serious. He's paralyzed, and his meridians are very blocked. I just helped him open up a bit of the blocked meridians, but if he wants to completely recover, he still needs to be treated later. Really? That's great. Huang, he had always been a thorn in her heart. The relationship between the siblings was very good. However, both her and her little brother were getting old, so it was rather troublesome to take care of them. More importantly, she didn't want her little brother to sit in a wheelchair forever. She also wanted to see him get married and have children. Yi Zichen's eyes glistened with tears. He could understand her current feelings very well. He raised his hand and rubbed her hair, causing Huang Xingmei's face to instantly blush. Ding dong. Your affability level with Huang Xingmei increased by 5. Current affability level, 505. It increased again. I want to treat you to a meal. Is that okay? Huang Xingmei sorted out her emotions, then pursed her lips and asked with an expectant tone. Yi Zichen instantly panicked a bit. Touching her head increased 5 affability level. Who knows how much it would increase if they ate a meal? It was more likely that the two of them directly skipped the first 3 steps of being lovers and directly entered the last step. Yi Zichen looked at Huang Yi, who was lying on the bed, and said, "Let's eat next time. Huang, you just got a bit better. I feel like it would be better for you to stay here and take care of him." "Oh, yeah. You're really thoughtful. Next time, then." Ding dong. Your favorable impression level with Huang Shenghao increased by 10. Current favorable impression level, 510. Pooh. Yi Zichen truly wanted to cough up blood. A single sentence increased the affability level again. Yi Zichen reminded Huang Shengmei to not let Huang Yi touch cold water for the time being, and told her to use hot water to soak his feet and massage him more. Then, he hurriedly left the room. Yi Zichen found a nearby cold drink store, then took out his phone and sent a bunch of messages to Yulao. "Yulao, come out. Hurry up. I have an urgent matter to discuss with you. Don't pretend you're not here. I'm going to get angry. If you're angry, don't even think about taking cigarettes from me anymore. Are you coming out or not?" Not long later, Yi Zichen spammed Yulao's chat with him. Right now, his heart was really on fire. Yi Zichen definitely wasn't trying to act innocent after getting the benefit. Huang Shengmei's matter truly made him speechless. Even though she did look pretty good, he couldn't just fall in love with every single person he saw, right? Yi Zichen asked for a cup of iced watermelon juice and drank it all in a few gulps. He had to get rid of his anger. Only when he finished drinking the watermelon juice did Yu Lao slowly reply. In a meeting. The heavenly court is still in a meeting. I think you don't want cigarettes anymore, right? Celestial friend, why are you like this? We're all people of the heavenly court. Don't be like this. It seemed like Yu Lao was rather nervous about cigarettes. If you want cigarettes, then answer a few questions for me. Celestial friend, please say it. Did you set up all of my marriages? Yi Zichen had already thought it through. If this geezer dared to say yes, then he had to make a deal with this geezer. He was in Huaxia, a society ruled by law. Monogamy. He couldn't handle all of these women being shoved around him. I only set up a string for Celestial friend. Yu Lao's reply shocked Yi Zichen. He only set up a string? Doesn't that mean that he only helped me sign Su Yan's? Then where did the others come from? Xia Qiki, Xiao Yumei, Huang Shengmei. All of them had marriage strings in his treasure chest. Are you sure? Yeah, I'll say something that Celestial friend might not be happy about. I'm in charge of the marriages in the 3 realms, so I have to keep an eye on too many marriages. I can't just watch Celestial friend all the time, right? If Celestial friend is fated to get married recently, then it only means that it's fated to be fated, or rather, it's fated to be fated in your previous life. Yi Zichen fell into deep thought when he saw Yu Lao's message. The geezer was telling the truth. He was in charge of the marriages in the 3 realms, so he couldn't just watch over him all the time. Even if he wanted to do that, the Jade Emperor wouldn't let him. However, Yi Zichen was truly shocked when he heard fated. Fated. It seems like he was a romantic in his previous life. Yu Lao can't take the blame anymore. Ding dong. Yi Zichen sent Yu Lao a red packet, then casually sent a message over. All right, go have your meeting. I'm fine here. Yu Lao received your red packet. Thank you, Celestial friend. Oh yeah, Celestial friend. What seat are you at? Let's get together after the meeting. Geezer Grand Supreme wants to see you as well. Just as Yi Zichen was about to close the chat, Yu Lao suddenly sent another message. Yi Zichen was stunned for a moment before replying. I won't be in the heavenly court recently. Not? That can't be, right? Celestial friend. The Jade Emperor personally called for the meeting this time. All the deities are here, and even the Buddhists of the Western Buddhist region are here. How can you not be here? What is the heavenly court doing? Is a year-end meeting? Why is it so grand? Wait. Yi Zichen suddenly noticed something important. All the deities are here. You're saying that all the deities in the heavenly court are here? Yes. Yi Zichen instantly smiled when he saw Yu Lao's reply. Clap. Yi Zichen clapped his hands. All the deities are here. This is definitely a huge opportunity for me. I've already made up my mind to open a supermarket in the heavenly court. I only have one sales channel right now, which is the heavenly court's group chat. There are plenty of deities in the heavenly court's group chat, but it definitely doesn't include all the deities. What's more, if I want to open up a sales channel in the heavenly court, I can't just rely on sending red packets in the group. It doesn't cover a lot of people. Coincidentally, all the deities have returned to the heavenly court for a meeting. This is definitely the icing on the cake, giving me a pillow when I'm feeling sleepy. Yizichin didn't care what kind of meeting they were having. All he needed to know was that all the deities were here. Yizichin clicked open the WeChat group chat, then clicked on the deities he added. He hesitated for a moment when he saw Neza, but he still clicked on it. As for Tai-Bai jinxing, never mind. Ding dong. The chat group was created. Chapter 97. Supermarket Endorser Selection. The chat group had just been created, but the immortals in the group had already started to chat in the group. Monkey King, who added Old Sun into the group. Erlang Shun, damn monkey, why are you here? Zhu Beiji, monkey bro. Monkey King, idiot, why are you here? Third Prince Neza, Aya, why are you here? Old Lord Taishang, can't you guys focus on the meeting? Do you still want your year-end bonus? Yu Lao, what's the situation? Yizichin was truly speechless when he saw the deities speak one after another. Are these people really having a meeting? Monkey King and Erlang Shun started fighting the moment they saw each other. Third Prince Neza really wanted to stop them, but seeing that he couldn't interfere, he didn't. Old Lord Taishang and Yu Lao treated this place as a private chat room. They started talking about who had the chance to win the best of the year in this conference. However, this was also good. The people that were dragged in were all living people. Yizichin changed the name of the chat group to Supermarket Spokesperson Selection, then sent a message in the group. Ahem, stop for a moment. The moment Yizichin spoke, the people in the group instantly stopped. However, after a short period of silence, the group was in an uproar again. Erling Shun, bro, why are you here? Monkey King, you dragged Old Sun here? Canopy Marshal, Great Immortal. Third Prince Neza, Celestial Sovereign. Old Lord Taishang, it's actually a fellow Taoist. Yu Lao, why are you looking for us? Can't they see who invited them? Why are you so alarmed? Yizichin suppressed the ridicule in his heart. I wanted to talk to you about my brother. Yizichin was definitely not going to give up on the business opportunities in the heavenly court. There were so many treasures in the treasure shop waiting for him to buy. He had to do business in the heavenly court. But the premise was that there needed to be a sales opportunity. What did sales rely on now? Celebrity effect. To put it plainly, he needed a spokesperson. If Yizichin's guess was correct, the 6 people in the group definitely had some authority in the heavenly court, especially Canopy Marshal. When it came to food, he was definitely the best in the heavenly court. Thus, Yizichin decided he wanted to make them his spokesperson. Yizichin pondered for a moment as he looked at the deities in the group, then sent a message. Everyone should know the situation of this sovereign in the secret place, and you should also know that I have obtained some treasures here. Canopy Marshal, I know. A row of drooling emojis. Yu Lao, fellow Taoist cigarette, can be said to be the best. Old Lord Taishang, I know. Third Prince Neza, Nutrient Express is delicious. Monkey King, that's a really good treasure. Erling Shun, bro, the book you sent is really nice. All of them had tasted the sweetness of Yizichin's gifts. It was obvious that his treasures were well received by the deities. I want to open up a market for these treasures in the heavenly court. I wonder if everyone here can lend me a hand. Yizichin was afraid that they wouldn't work, so he added, I won't help for nothing. There are benefits. Boom. The people in the group instantly exploded. With Canopy Marshal as the leader, they kept talking about what benefits they could get. On the other hand, Yu Lao and Old Lord Taishang were much calmer. What do we need to do? It's very simple. Promote this sovereign's products in everyone's circle of friends. I will create a chat group later. When that happens, as long as someone in your circle of friends is interested in this sovereign's treasures, you can add them to that group. Everyone, you could get a 2,000 yuan shopping cart for every deity you add. At the same time, you can enjoy the discount of shopping with this sovereign. The more deities you add, the more discount you will get. The moment that was said, everyone in the group turned silent. Yizichin stared at the chat group nervously. His proactionary attack was either succeed or die trying. If he failed here, then it would be rather troublesome to open up a market in the heavenly court later on. But on the other hand, If he succeeded, then the benefits he would get would definitely be far greater than if he slowly promoted it. Monkey King, that's too unfair. You want me, old son, to pay? I, old son, don't get a salary from the heavenly court, and I'm not as rich as the god of fortune. Erlang Shun, bro, you should know that I'm about to die of poverty. Third Prince Neza, all of my pocket money is with daddy. Canopy Marshal, celestial sovereign, I don't think that's possible. None of the people in the heavenly court are especially rich. Yizichin slapped his thigh when he saw the deity's replies. I was so focused on brainwashing them that I actually forgot to tell them how to make a deal. From the looks of it, they probably subconsciously thought that they needed the heavenly court's money to buy things. This sovereign's goods don't need the heavenly court's money. What I need is cultivation experience. At the same time, I can also use items to exchange. Monkey King, cultivation experience, what do you need such useless things for? Erlang Shun, bro, could it be that you're in the stage of breaking through and need cultivation experience? F***CK. Could cultivation experience not be important in the heavenly court? Why do they sound like cultivation experience is like cabbages, and they can get as much as they want? But Yulao also said that cultivation experience was very important. When he just entered the group, God of Thunder got 1,000 cultivation experience, which made everyone envious. What Yizichin didn't know was that the heavenly court had been established for who knows how long. Cultivation experience was way too common for these deities. But that was good. I didn't need it. Yizichin needed it. This sovereign does indeed need cultivation experience to break through. I wonder if fellow Celestials can lend this sovereign a hand? Erlang Shun, bro, is in trouble. I naturally have to help. Third Prince Neza, sure, my dad taught me to take pleasure in helping others since I was young. Canopy Marshal, great deity, just say the word, and this little deity will definitely do his best to help. Yulao, no problem. Old Lord Taishang, sure. Monkey King, shouldn't we do something first? The first few deities were rather serious, but when it came to the Monkey King, just something. Every day only knows how to ask for benefits. But that doesn't matter. Yizichin naturally has to give them products in order for them to advertise in his WeChat moments. Didn't Coca-Cola give out Coke for free when it first started out? Since the deities got a taste of it first, then Yizichin wasn't afraid of them not spending it on him. Of course it's something celestial friends should still be in a meeting. Continue with the meeting first. I'll send you all some treasures after the meeting ends. I'll have to trouble you then. No problem, no problem. Yizichin exited the chat group and called Su Iyun under the deity's agreement. The supermarket had to be set up as soon as possible. Time was of the essence, so Yizichin wanted to use the end of the meeting to get the deities to promote it to the deities. Yizichin simply rushed Su Iyun's progress, then hung up the phone. At that moment, his mood could be summed up with one word. That was beautiful. He felt a bit excited when he thought about how he would be able to earn cultivation experience like crazy when the deities come to buy things from him. When that happens, who cares about the fiery eyes of truth, the body freezing technique? What book 1, book 2, by all of them? Chapter 98. Strange encounters in a cold drinks shop. Yizichin, who was holding his phone, smiled idiotically. His future had truly made him think too much, causing him to be unable to get over it. Lu Jing sat opposite him, supported her chin with her hands, and stared at him speechlessly, then retorted, "You're so dumb like this." Yizichin rolled his eyes in annoyance at being interrupted by a ghost. What do you know? Big Bro was just discussing business with the people from the Heavenly Court. Heavenly Court, do you understand? Crazy. Lu Jing twitched her mouth. Ghost. Just as Yizichin was fantasizing about his beautiful future, a scream suddenly sounded out in the cold drink shop. Yizichin's heart skipped a beat. Did someone see Lu Jing? Lu Jing also opened her eyes wide in fright. The two of them looked over towards the source of the voice and saw a woman with red high heels, who had a lot of makeup on her face, screaming in fright in the corner of the cold drink shop, while the cold drink shop's attendant stood in front of her. Phew! Both Yizichin and Lu Jing let out a long sigh. He wasn't calling Lu Jing. Yizichin stood up to leave the cold drink shop with the mentality that it had nothing to do with him. However, Just as he walked to the entrance of the cold drink shop, he saw the attendant. Huji, you scared me to death. The woman with red high heels pretended to be terrified, then reached out her hand to grab the arm of the stocky man in front of her. The man looked up at the attendant, then instantly revealed a disgusted expression. Hurry up and F***ck off. Did you come out to scare people with such an ugly face? He picked up the cold drink on the table and chucked it towards the attendant. The waiter picked up the tray and blocked it. The cold drink spilled all over the woman's body. Ah! The woman with thick makeup screamed. Then, she instantly stood up and raised her hand to slap the attendant. Don't go too far. Yi Zichen hurried over from the side and grabbed the woman's hand, then pushed her to the side. At the same time, he turned around to look at the aggrieved attendant. Li Jia, are you all right? Why are you here? Li Jia's expression was clearly a bit unnatural when she saw Yi Zichen. That day at the hotel, Yi Zichen still refused to admit it. Brother who? At that moment, the woman that Yi Zichen pushed away also shouted. The stocky man instantly stood up and grabbed Yi Zichen's shoulder. Let go. Yi Zichen turned around indifferently and looked at the man who was grabbing his shoulder darkly. The man instantly felt a chill and couldn't help but move his hand away from Yi Zichen's shoulder. I think this is a misunderstanding. What do you think? A faint chill once again spread to the bottom of Tiger's heart. He swallowed a mouthful of saliva, and there was only one thought in Tiger's mind. This kid was not to be trifled with. However, the woman beside him didn't think so much. She took a step forward and screamed at Yi Zichen and Li Jia. Are you blind? Can't you see that this ugly woman made my clothes wet? Are these the new clothes I bought? If you say one more word, do you believe that I won't tear your mouth apart? Yi Zichen glared at him. As for your clothes, how much is it? I'll compensate you. Can you afford it? The woman said harshly. Tiger, who was on the side, secretly tugged at the woman beside him with a smile. Bro, you look rather familiar. Brother, you look a little familiar. Where are you from? Don't worry about where I'm from. I'll compensate you guys for the clothes. Apologize to her. Apologize? Dream on. The harshly woman called out once again. He slapped. Yi Zichen slapped the harshly woman's face. After that, Yi Zichen shook his hand, while a dark look appeared in his eyes. Don't turn a deaf ear to what I've told you. You actually dared to hit me. The harshly woman was stunned for a moment. Then, she reached out her hand towards Yi Zichen's face. What she got in return was another slap. Don't test my patience. Huji. The woman beside him covered her face and shook the man's shoulder coyly. However, the man ignored her and spoke with a trembling voice. Yi, you're young Master Yi, right? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. He didn't think that this brat actually knew him. Know me? Huji felt that Yi Zichen looked familiar from the start, but he couldn't remember where. It wasn't until Yi Zichen slapped his woman that he remembered. This person was definitely a powerful fiend. Gulp. Huji gulped, then raised his hand and slapped the woman beside him. Apologize. Huji slapped directly stunned the harshly woman. She looked at him in shock, then exploded. Zhao Hu, you actually dared to hit Laonyang. You dared to hit Laonyang. The harshly woman raised her hand towards Zhao Hu's face. Zhao Hu clenched his teeth, then grabbed the harshly woman's arm and pushed it back before slapping her again. Lu Zhu apologized to Yi. Hurry up. F***CKU. Zhao Hu, just you wait for this old lady. And you too, just you wait. The harshly woman screamed as she left the cold drink store. Zhao Hu gulped and cursed the woman for being retarded in his heart. She did have some ability, but compared to young Master Yi, she was nothing. Young Master Yi. It seems like this woman is stronger than you? Yi Zichen twitched his mouth with a smile, then indicated towards Li Jia. Apologize. Sorry, Sissy, I didn't recognize him. Titai. Li Jia, who was on the side, blushed, while Yi Zichen also revealed a shocked expression. Just what kind of brain does this brat have? His imagination is so huge. Never mind, I didn't do anything. Leave. Li Jia pursed her lips, as if all the anger in her heart had been dissipated by Zhao, who calling her Sissy. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows and cursed back. Hey, okay. Zhao Hu scrambled away from the cold drink store. At the same time, Yi Zichen also turned around and said softly, "Why did you come here to work? Weren't you at Golden Spring? Why did you come here to work? Weren't you in Jinshan at that time?" To be honest, Li Jiai's emotions were very complicated. She blamed Yi Zichen for not daring to admit what he did, but he stood up for her just now. She blamed Yi Zichen for not daring to take responsibility for what he did, but he stood up for her just now. "Brother, it's them." The harshly woman, who had just left the cold drink store, returned with a few policemen beside her. The policeman walked towards Yi Zichen with a frown and scanned Yi Zichen up and down arrogantly. "I suspect that you are related to the gang involved in the recent smuggling cases. Please come back to the police station with us to assist in the investigation." "Me?" Yi Zichen pointed at himself in shock, while Li Jiai couldn't help but speak up. Li Jiai couldn't help but speak up. "Officer, you probably got the wrong person." When the policeman saw the birthmark on Li Jiai's face, undisguised disgust surfaced in his eyes. Chapter 99. Have an accident, Lu. Zhu looked on proudly from the side. Yi Zichen glanced at her and immediately knew that she'd found this person. The manager of the cold drink shop also rushed over at this time. The manager was a kind-looking uncle. When he saw the police coming over, he quickly smiled apologetically. "Officer comrade, would you like a cold drink? It's my treat. There's a table over there. Come and sit. Don't try to get close." The police officer Lu Zhu pushed the boss to the side, then pointed at Yi Zichen and Li Jiai. "Take them away." "Sir, it must be a misunderstanding." The manager smiled apologetically with a worried expression. "Don't talk to me about misunderstandings. Your staff is involved in a smuggling case. If you don't want your store to get into trouble, then don't be a busybody." The manager was stunned when he heard this accusation. Li Jiai chuckled, signaling the manager not to worry. She raised her head and sneered at the police officer. "How can you say that I have something to do with the smuggling case? I think you're just abusing your position for personal gain. Brother, don't waste time talking to her. Just take her away." Lu Zhu laughed coldly on the side. Yi Zichen licked his lips and glanced at the woman. A wave of cold air instantly rose up from the bottom of her feet. She subconsciously took a step back. Yi Zichen smiled. "Don't worry. Officer Lu?" The police officer was taken aback. "You know me?" Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows and smiled. If Lu Zhu's older brother isn't surnamed Lu, then should he be surnamed Yi? Our Yi family doesn't have a grandson like you. "Curse me?" Officer Lu smiled sinisterly and snorted. "I hope you can still be so eloquent when you get to the station and arrest the two of them." "Wait a moment." Yi Zichen raised his hand to stop the police officer, who rushed over and smiled. "Are you sure you want to capture me? If you really capture me, I'm afraid you won't be able to bear the responsibility." That fearless tone made Officer Lu stunned for a moment. Could it be that there was someone behind this kid? Yi Zichen looked towards Yi Zichen with a frown. Yi Zichen was dressed like a street vendor, and he didn't have any recollection of such a person. For a moment, Officer Lu sneered. "Umph, the smugglers are already so arrogant. Take them away." Without any explanation, the other two police officers surrounded him. Yi Zichen shook off the two policemen's hands with a snort. "I will leave on my own, but I hope you won't regret it." Unsurprisingly, Li Jiai was also brought to the station, but the two of them did not go straight to the interrogation room. Instead, they were locked in a room by Officer Lu. His hands were cuffed to the radiator in the room. "Yi Zichen, what do we do?" Li Jiai frowned worriedly. This was her first time going to the police station. "Don't worry." On the other hand, Yi Zichen was clearly much calmer. He had already sent a message to Commissioner Lu before coming, so the city police station should be calling him soon. When the time came, there would be a time to deal with that bastard. Yi Zichen, look, isn't that Officer Lin's boyfriend? Lu Qing floated in midair and reached out her hand towards the window. Yi Zichen glanced outside. Well, it was true. Lu Chong. Zhao Ziming stopped Lu Chong. "Captain Zhao, I heard that you caught a smuggler called Yi Zichen, right?" Zhao Ziming squinted his eyes. Hearing that, Lu Chong felt his scalp tingle. Could that brat know Captain Zhao? "Captain Zhao, don't be nervous." Zhao Ziming reached out his hand and patted Lu Chong's shoulders, then handed him a towel. "If you really caught Yi Zichen, then make him feel good." You know how to use it, right? Lu Chang instantly smiled when he saw the towel in Zhao Ziming's hand. He didn't think that this brat actually had a grudge with Captain Zhao as well. Understood. All right, go. Don't leave any traces. Zhao Ziming patted Lu Chang's shoulders, then turned around to look at Yi Zichen before turning around to leave. AI, why did he leave? Lu Jing exclaimed involuntarily. Yi Zichen smiled. There was definitely something wrong with his grandson. Creak. The door to the room was open from the outside, and Li Chang walked in with a towel and a police baton. Yi Zichen's pupils contracted when he saw the towel. It was the towel that Zhao Ziming gave him. Brat, confess. The first thing Lu Chang did after entering the room was lock the door and close the curtains. Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and smiled. I don't have anything to confess. Is that so? It seems like the organization treats you pretty well. You're pretty tough. Lu Chang walked towards Yi Zichen with a chuckle, then swung the towel towards Yi Zichen's stomach, then directly hit him with the police baton. F*CKU. Yi Zichen snorted, then kicked Lu Chang, causing him to roll over. Lu Chang, who crawled up from the ground, patted the dust off his body, while his expression darkened. You actually dared to assault a police officer. The towel was wet, and the police baton instantly turned on crackle. Yi Zichen, who was leaning on the radiator, instantly twitched. Yi Zichen! Yi Zichen! Lu Qing and Li Jia shouted at the same time. At the same time, Lu Chang also put down the police baton and patted Yi Zichen's face. Confess or not? Confess your mom. TSK. Yi Zichen spat over, then wiped his face with the towel. Then he increased the frequency of the police baton in his hand and stabbed Yi Zichen once again. Ugh! Ugh! Yi Zichen started to tremble intensely, while Li Jia also shouted from the other side. Li Jia also shouted, help! Someone's lynching! Slap! Lu Chang slapped Li Jia's face. Yi Zichen opened his eyes in a daze and saw this scene. F*CKU. Come at me if you have the guts. Hee hee, I couldn't tell, but you're rather heroic. But your eyes are a bit bad. Crackle. Another baton hit Yi Zichen. Confess or not? TSK. Yi Zichen opened his eyes weakly, then spat towards Lu Chang with a smile. Yi Zichen. Li Jia tried her best to help Yi Zichen, causing her wrists to bleed from the friction. Lu Qing, who floated in midair, also stomped her feet anxiously. She wanted to help Yi Zichen, but Yi Zichen gave her a death order to not move. Why is Dad so slow? Lu Qing bit her lips, then could only watch as Yi Zichen got hit by Lu Chang's baton again and again. At the same time, Commissioner Lu sat in his office and looked at the recent big cases. The office door was pushed open, and Officer Zhang walked in from outside. Commissioner Lu, the phone is fully charged. Oh, put it there. Commissioner Lu didn't even bat an eyelid. Officer Zhang put down the phone and left the office. After a long while, Commissioner Lu put down the case in his hands, then turned on his phone while rubbing his temples. Not long later, a message from Lil Yi appeared on his phone. Commissioner Lu quickly opened the message and was instantly stunned. He looked at the time of the message. Slap. Chapter 100. Turn the tables. Li Jia, who was chained to the radiator, was sobbing uncontrollably. Yi Zichen looked as if he'd just been fished out of the water. Bean-sized beads of sweat rolled down his chin and onto the ground. Whoosh. She stabbed Yi Zichen with the baton once more, causing the nearly unconscious Yi Zichen to tremble violently once more. Lu Chang licked his lips with a sinister smile. He grabbed Yi Zichen's hair and slapped him across the face. Brat, why don't you continue to be arrogant? Yi Zichen's eyelids drooped, while his lips twitched. Lu Chang revealed a playful smile. Don't worry. What do you want to say? As he spoke, Lu Chang moved his ear closer. If Thebang. Lu Chang squinted his eyes and snorted as he directly hit Yi Zichen's stomach with the baton. Stubborn, huh? As soon as he finished speaking, he walked towards Li Jia with his baton. Is this your woman? Lu Chang grabbed Li Jia's chin and smiled. You don't say. If you don't look at her face, she's pretty good. Especially this figure, TSK. It's really exquisite. Let me go. Li Jia struggled with all her might. Seeing that, Yi Zichen, who had nearly lost consciousness, also struggled to stand up. "Grandson, if you have the ability, come and mess with me. Grandpa is not afraid of you." Bang. Yi Zichen coughed up a mouthful of blood as he struck him again. At this moment, the phone in Lu Chang's pocket rang. He looked at the caller ID, then snorted towards Yi Zichen. "Consider yourself lucky." Lu Chang casually gave Yi Zichen another blow, then walked out of the room with his phone. "Yi Zichen," Li Jiai cried. Yi Zichen looked up dispiritedly and smiled. "Don't be afraid. That grandson will suffer later." At that moment, Lu Jing also floated over and reached out her hand in an attempt to stop Yi Zichen. "Yi Zichen, you have to hold on. My dad will come and save you very soon." Yi Zichen squinted his eyes and smiled foolishly as he continuously nodded. "Director Wang." Lu Chang stood outside the room and answered the phone in his usual tone. "Let me ask you, did you catch a criminal called Yi Zichen just now? Why did the director mention this?" Lu Chang's heart raced. He gulped. "Yes, we did capture someone called Yi Zichen. He's related to the smuggling case, so Your ass." Superintendent Wang suddenly roared. "I'm telling you, hurry up and release Yi Zichen." The Municipal Public Security Bureau had already sent someone over to pick him up. "Also, you must put in a good word for him and apologize properly, understand?" Lu Chang's hand trembled fiercely, his pupils dilated, and a thin layer of sweat appeared on his forehead. I understand." Superintendent Wang snorted and said, "Oh yeah, you didn't give Mr. Yi a lesson, right?" The lesson was referring to what he did to Yi Zichen earlier. Lu Chang's heart was about to explode. He swallowed his saliva and gritted his teeth. "No, consider yourself lucky. Otherwise, even 10 heads wouldn't be enough for you. When the people from the Municipal Public Security Bureau arrive, talk to them properly." "All right, that's all." The call ended. Doo-doo. At the same time, a police car stopped in front of the police station. Lin Xie, who was wearing a police cap, ran in hurriedly with 3 police officers behind her. "Xie, why did you come?" Zhao Ziming came out of the office with a smile. Lin Xie frowned and said. "Ziming, did you guys arrest Yi Zichen?" "Yi Zichen? This name is so familiar." Zhao Ziming revealed a look of confusion. After a long while, he came to a realization. "Isn't that the name of our benefactor? I've never heard of anyone arresting him." "Then hurry up and ask your colleagues." "Yi Zichen was arrested by your people. I came under orders to protect him." Lin Xie's face was filled with nervousness. She immediately hurried over after receiving Superintendent Lu's call. Although she didn't like Yi Zichen very much before, ever since last time, her impression of him had changed greatly. Zhao Ziming's expression darkened when he felt Lin Xie's worry for Yi Zichen. However, he still put on a shocked expression on his face. "All right, I'll make a call right away." Lu Chang was completely dumbfounded after speaking with Superintendent Wang. He sat limply on the floor, while his phone had already fallen to the side. "Lu Chang." At that moment, Zhao Ziming's shout sounded out beside Lu Chang's ear. "Captain Zhao." "Yes, Captain Zhao told me to do all of this. He gave me the towel. He told me to do this. I did all of this under Captain Zhao's orders." "Captain Zhao, save me." Lu Chang crawled over while kneeling on the floor. Zhao Ziming looked at him with a dark expression. "Where's Yi Zichen?" "There." Lu Chang pointed at the room, while Lin Xie directly ran towards the room. Lin Xie's heart ached when she saw the terrible scene in the room. "Yi Zichen, wake up." "Yi Zichen." She hugged Yi Zichen's neck tightly and shouted his name loudly. At that moment, Lu Chang and Zhao Ziming also walked in. When they saw Lin Xie hug Yi Zichen, Zhao Ziming's expression darkened once again. "Give me the key." Lin Xie practically roared. Lu Chang took out the key with a pale face. After quickly unlocking Yi Zichen's handcuffs, Lin Xie continuously shouted his name. "Yi Zichen, wake up! Wake up!" At the same time, the other police officers also unlocked Li Jiai's handcuffs. Then, she directly ran to Yi Zichen's side and pushed Lin Xie onto the floor. F***CK off. "You dare to assault a police officer?" Zhao Ziming shouted. "No, you are good." Li Jiai glared at Zhao Ziming and roared, then hugged Yi Zichen's head and cried, Yi Zichen, don't scare me. Hurry up and wake up. Yi Zichen, you. Zhao Ziming's expression darkened. However, Lin Xie pulled him back and smiled coldly. Zhao Ziming, look at the good team you lead. With that, she turned around and shouted at the police officers behind her, hurry up and call 120. Hurry up and call 120. Also arrest him for me. The police officers that Lin Xie brought immediately dialed the emergency number and restrained Lu Chang. Lu Chang's entire face was filled with terror. He reached out his hand and shouted toward Zhao Ziming. Captain Zhao, save me. This is all because of you. Bang! Zhao Ziming, who was standing on the side, kicked Lu Chang's stomach, causing the two police officers who were restraining him to fall onto the ground as well. It's truly an embarrassment for me to have a team member like you under my command. Captain Zhao. Lu Chang still wanted to say something, but he was scared back by Zhao Ziming's intimidating gaze. He knew he had no chance to make a comeback. Cough, cough. At that moment, Yi Zichen, who was lying in Li Jiai's arms, suddenly coughed intensely. Lin Xie quickly went over, but she could only look at him worriedly from afar due to Li Jiai's gaze. Zichen, you woke up. Li Jiai instantly smiled when she saw Yi Zichen open his eyes. Huh, Laozi is going to make a comeback. Chapter 101. Unscrupulous old Lord Taishang. Yi Zichen, you scared me to death. Li Jiai hugged Yi Zichen's neck tightly, while Lin Xie also watched worriedly from a distance. Yi Zichen panted heavily, then rubbed Li Jiai's hair weakly. What are you crying for? Aren't I perfectly fine? Li Jiai sobbed once again when she thought of the scene just now. Yi Zichen licked his lips, then struggled to sit up and lean against the wall. He looked up at Lu Chang, who had a pale face, and Zhao Ziming, who had a sullen expression. What's more, when he looked at Zhao Ziming actually looked at him with a worried expression. A playful smile flashed across Yi Zichen's face, causing Zhao Ziming's heart to jump. He really knows how to act. Yi Zichen twitched his mouth in disdain. At that moment, Lin Xie also spoke up. Yi Zichen, believe me, I will definitely give you justice. None of you are good people. Li Jiai bit her lips and cursed with her red eyes. Li Jiai bit her lip and scolded her with reddened eyes. Don't think that I don't know what you're trying to do. You just want to take him away, and after a while you'll... As she spoke, Li Jiai cried again. Lin Xie was unable to say anything for a long time due to Li Jiai's words. Words were no proof. After experiencing the scene just now, it was very hard for Li Jiai to believe her. Yi Zichen, you should believe me, right? Lin Xie revealed a look of anticipation. Yi Zichen nodded. All right, I'll be fine. Yi Zichen nodded. I can trust Officer Lin, but I want to deal with this myself. As soon as he finished speaking, he raised his head and looked at Zhao Ziming with a smile. I made a comeback, didn't I? Zhao Ziming smiled dryly and pretended to not know. Lin Xie looked back with a confused expression. At the same time, Yi Zichen also took out his phone and found old Lord Taishang's chat. Old man, do you have any pills that can restore physical strength and heal injuries? Yes. Old Lord Taishang instantly replied. Send one over. 500 cultivation experience. If old Lord Taishang was in the modern era, he would definitely be a scammer. In such a short period of time, this old man had already realized the importance of cultivation in the later stages. He kept talking about cultivation, and he even asked for so much. No, just how hard was it to earn cultivation experience? Yi Zichen felt like he wanted money more than his life. But he just wanted to lower the price. Who would have thought? Forget it then. Old Lord Taishang completely ignored Yi Zichen's stubble. Yi Zichen was truly shocked. This Beaster's Stard was definitely a profiteer. Although 500 cultivation experience was not a small amount, but for his own body, all right, send it. Now the price has risen to 1,000 cultivation experience. F CKU. Yi Zichen truly wanted a curse. This geezer is too evil. He doubled the price in such a short amount of time. Fine. Yi Zichen nodded silently to himself. Since this geezer dared to mess with me, then don't blame me for messing with this geezer in the future. Ding dong. Yi Zichen directly took out 1,000 cultivation experience from his celestial plate and sent it over. After old Lord Taishang accepted the red packet, he also sent the pills over to Yi Zichen. You have received old Lord Taishang's red packet. 3-stripe body restoration pill X13 inscription body recovery pill. Tier 3 immortal pill. Able to rapidly recover one's exhausted physical strength and minor external injuries. Withdraw. Yi Zichen intentionally turned around when he was withdrawing it. He couldn't reveal this secret here. The body recovery pill was green in color and had 3 pill inscriptions on it. The pill tasted slightly sweet. The moment it entered his stomach, Yi Zichen could feel a ball of fire rise up in his dantian, while his body's functions also started to recover. In mere moments, Yi Zichen, who was extremely weak, completely recovered his strength and stood up from the ground. Yi Zichen, Li Jiai, and Lin Xie were both stunned. Yi Zichen looked like he was about to die just now. However, just how long has it been? He actually became completely fine. This can't be the final radiance of a setting sun, right? Li Jiai cried again as she spoke. Yi Zichen reached out his hand and caressed her hair with a smile. Can't you hope for something good for me? After comforting Li Jiai, Yi Zichen slowly walked in front of Zhao Ziming and Lu Chang. Young Master Yi, let me go. Lu Chang could only shout helplessly under the restraints of the police. Yi Zichen ignored her and instead smiled toward Zhao Ziming. Captain Zhao, what do you think we should do? Zhao Ziming had been a bit nervous from the start. When he heard Yi Zichen's meaningful question, his shoulders trembled even more. Lin Xie squinted her eyes and examined their positions. She also had a feeling that Yi Zichen had been targeting Zhao Ziming. Captain Zhao, seeing that Zhao Ziming didn't say anything for a long time, Yi Zichen shouted again. Mr. Yi, what are you talking about? You're Xie's savior. Yet my team members actually attacked you and even put such a big hat on you. It's my fault for not disciplining them properly. Yushi is also here, so it's very reasonable for me to let her handle it. Is that so? Yi Zichen nodded. In other words, Captain Zhao doesn't know anything about this? Of course, I was also shocked when I first got the news, Zhao Ziming replied with an awkward smile. He clearly knows. This guy. Lu Jing, who was floating in the air, cursed. Yi Zichen nodded with a smile. Don't worry. Then can Captain Zhao go out first and leave his place to us? About this, Zhao Ziming revealed a troubled expression. Zhao Ziming. Lin Xie frowned. Sure. Zhao Ziming instantly chuckled when he saw Lin Xie's expression, then walked out of the room. Then the 2 police bros should go out as well. Yi Zichen pointed at the 2 police officers that Lin Xie brought. These are my people. Lin Xie thought that Yi Zichen misunderstood, so she quickly said, then we still have to go out. After the police officers left the room, only Yi Zichen, Li Jiai, Lin Xie, and Lu Chang remained. Yi Zichen, what exactly do you want to do? I want you to recognize a person. Yi Zichen looked at Lin Xie with a smile, then walked beside Lu Chang. Lin Xie stood on the spot with a confused expression. Then, her expression drastically changed. I hope it's not what I think. Lu Chang, who was paralyzed on the floor, grabbed Yi Zichen's leg and begged like a madman. Young Master Yi, let me go. Sure, but you have to let go first. Yi Zichen's face was filled with a warm smile. Everyone in the room thought that there was something wrong with their ears, while Li Jiai shouted from behind. Yi Zichen, you can't let him go. He treated you like that. He gave Li Jiai a reassuring look and squatted in front of Lu Chang. I can let you go, but I need you to answer a question. Go ahead, young Master Yi. This could be said to be Lu Chang's last chance. He had to seize it. Otherwise, his life would be ruined. Chapter 102. White Impermanence had a request. Take him away. Lin Xie looked at Lu Chang coldly, while the 2 policemen she brought immediately brought him to the police car. Xie, how is it? What did you guys say just now? Zhao Ziming walked up from the side after taking a glance. Lin Xie put on her usual expression and smiled. I just asked him if there were any other instructions. Then what did he say? Zhao Ziming's tone was clearly a bit nervous. Lin Xie shook her head. He didn't say, he just said that he had a grudge with Yi Zichen. I guess I'm unlucky, but Officer Lin, you have to give me justice. Yi Zichen sighed softly, then reached out to grab Li Jiai, who was beside him. It seems like there's nothing else for me here, so I'll be leaving first. After leaving the police station, Li Jiai could no longer suppress the confusion in her heart. Yi Zichen, why didn't you guys directly arrest that person called Zhao Ziming when Lu Chang confessed just now? Dong. Yi Zichen knocked her head. You really are stupid enough. You're really stupid. How are you going to catch him without any proof? Although Lu Chang confessed, there was no recording, so it can't be considered evidence. Oh. Li Jiai rubbed her head with a pout. Yi Zichen smiled, then stretched lazily. It's been a long afternoon. Do you want to go eat something together? I know there's a Western restaurant that has really good steak. Steak? Ugh. Li Jiai, who was rather normal, suddenly retched. Yi Zichen quickly supported her and patted her back in comfort. What happened to you? Are you all right? Do you need to go to the hospital? Li Jiai looked up and looked at him with a complicated gaze, then bit her lips. You still don't want to admit it? Yi Zichen was completely confused. What do I admit? I might be pregnant. Li Jiai bit her lips and stared straight into Yi Zichen's eyes. Yi Zichen was instantly stunned, then said frantically, Whose child is it? Whose child is it? Who is the child's father? Why didn't I see it? He's too irresponsible. After a long time, Li Jiai looked at him with a complicated expression. Isn't he you? Yi Zichen was a bit confused. How did he suddenly become a father? When Tian saw him, she threw herself into his arms and called him daddy. Now that Li Jiai was pregnant, she even said that he was the father. What? Could it be that he had the halo of being a father? A hint of sadness flashed across Li Jiai's eyes when she saw Yi Zichen's terrified look. I don't need you to take responsibility. I can abort the child. All I need is a word from you. What did I say? I didn't even touch you, and the child is mine? Yi Zichen opened his eyes wide. He definitely admitted it without any hesitation. But he didn't do it, and he couldn't take the blame. You. Li Jiai bit her lip and said angrily, I was drugged that night, and you stayed with me. The next day, we were lying on the bed together. I was still naked, and there were bloodstains on the bed. Do you still want to say it wasn't you? Li Jiai threw caution to the wind. She couldn't beat a man's child for no reason. She had to at least get Yi Zichen's approval. Unexpectedly, Yi Zichen, who had a look of confusion just now, suddenly laughed. Is it very funny? Do you think I'm very funny? Li Jiai scolded angrily. I know you're still in school, and I didn't want you to take this responsibility. I can slowly earn the money for the abortion, but at the very least, you have to let me know why I beat you. Yi Zichen reached out his hand with a smile and caressed Li Jiai's hair. You're thinking too much. What? I didn't touch you at all that night. Yi Zichen smiled helplessly. Yi Zichen smiled helplessly. You were indeed drugged that day, but I didn't touch you. As for the blood on the bedsheets you saw the next day, wasn't that because your period coincidentally came? Impossible. Li Jiai shook her head. She had suspected that the bloodstains on the bedsheets might be her period. However, she had checked on the internet and found out that the only way to get rid of the effects of the drug was... I was actually... Yi Zichen suddenly blushed and smiled coyly. Actually, I'm a judo expert. Judo. Judo. Thud. Li Jiai's face instantly turned bright red. At the same time, Yi Zichen also grabbed her wrist, then put it down after a while. It's about the same as I guessed. You've been suffering from a weak spleen and stomach lately, which is why you feel nauseous and vomiting. As for you retching when you hear those oily things, you can say that it's a mental problem. It's just a little bit of pregnancy fantasy. Li Jiai bit her lips and was speechless for a long time. She never thought that she had been letting her imagination run wild all this time. That, if you're still worried, we can go to the hospital for a checkup. Yi Zichen laughed dryly on the side. Li Jiai shook her head. No need, I believe you. The atmosphere was a little awkward. By the way, I have to hurry back to the shop, or else the manager will be worried. Li Jiai suddenly spoke up amidst the silence. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. Then I'll send you back. No need. I can go back by myself. Li Jiai called a taxi, then disappeared from Yi Zichen's sight. Yi Zichen couldn't help but shake his head and laugh. No wonder she'd said such strange things. In the end, it was a misunderstanding. However, none of that mattered. What mattered was that Zhao Ziming. Creak. Yi Zichen couldn't help but clench his fist when he thought of him. That grandson was definitely a despicable person. Back at the villa, Tian immediately threw herself into his arms. This little fellow had been quite happy staying here recently. With little White playing with her, she had become a lot more cheerful. Yi Zichen played with Tian in the living room for a while, then bought some dog food for Lil White. Needless to say, the heavenly dog biscuits in the treasure shop were really expensive. 100 cultivation experience per bag. However, for the sake of Little White becoming a divine beast like the howling celestial dog in the future, Yi Zichen had to pay a hefty price. He bought 20 packets and let it eat as much as it wanted. But on the other hand, he had used up almost all of his cultivation experience. Yi Zichen laid on the bed in the bedroom and clicked on the celestial tablet. Immortal Plate, Heavenly Lord Nameless, Cultivation Experience, 3612, Level 4 Immortal Official. Yi Zichen used up his cultivation experience, but he didn't lose his celestial title. However, Yi Zichen still didn't know what the celestial title was used for. The promotion system was still being explored. Yi Zichen rubbed his aching head, then prepared to log out of WeChat and sleep. Ding dong. His phone suddenly rang. It seemed like there was only that Miss White Impermanence who would look for him at this time every day. As expected, Yi Zichen clicked on the chat page. It was indeed White Impermanence looking for him. Chapter 103. Underworld Moments. Now available. White Impermanence had a request. Yi Zichen looked at the message and hesitated for a long time. No matter how he thought about it, he couldn't think of anything that could help White Impermanence. Did the Black Impermanence bully her again? In that case, there was nothing he could do to help. He couldn't go to the underworld to beat up the Black Impermanence. Moreover, even if they could go there, it was still their territory. It was hard to say who would be the one getting beaten up. What is it? Yi Zichen hesitated for a moment, then replied. You're really here. That's great. Yi Zichen could sense the excitement in his words. He scratched his head and replied. Well, didn't you say? Do you need something from me? Oh yes, it's like this. After a while, it will be King Qingguang's birthday. As a ghost messenger, I naturally have to send some gifts, but I don't have much money. Yi Zichen shook his shoulders. Although he was an atheist, he was curious about these gods and ghosts, so he looked it up on Baidu. The head of the underworld was the great sacred emperor equaling heavens, who was in charge of all living things, followed by the northern Necropolis emperor, and then the 5 ghost emperors. After the 5 ghost emperors were the 10 Yama kings. If this level was placed in a large modern company, it would be equivalent to the level of a manager. The White Impermanence should be considered a trainee supervisor in the underworld. Giving a gift to her immediate superior was definitely a big one. What gift do you want to give King Qingguang? Just don't be too normal. White Impermanence didn't dare to be too harsh, no matter what. She wasn't close with Yi Zichen. All right, I understand. Yi Zichen nodded, then started to rummage through the room. He wasn't too sure what exactly the underworld had, but it should be about the same as the heavenly court. King Qingguang didn't sound young, and that cigarette would definitely move him. Yi Zichen took out a yushi from the drawer and scanned it like usual. Ding dong. Send failed. You do not have current permissions. Yi Zichen was a bit confused as he looked at the cigarette in his hand and the notification on the screen. He had never seen such a situation before. Could it be that the method was wrong? I can't send it to you. I don't have the authority to do so. Yi Zichen immediately sent a message to White Impermanence without thinking. As someone from the underworld, she should understand, right? Ding dong. As soon as the news came out, White Impermanence sent him a red packet. Collect. Ghost Controlling Talisman X1 Ding dong. The circle of friends in Hell was opened. Hell's red envelope function activated. The yin-yang box opened. The function of heaven and earth virtues was activated. The series of functions caused Yi Zichen to be completely stunned. He clicked on the My Function bar and saw that a little ghost profile picture had indeed appeared under the treasure chest and treasure shop, with the words yin-yang box written on it. Opening the yin-yang box, there was a talisman that White Impermanence had just sent over. Ghost Controlling Talisman, a common item in the netherworld. Effect: used to control ghosts. Current number of ghosts remaining: 3. Try it this time. You should be able to send it to me. White impermanence sent a message, causing Yi Zichen to open the scam page. Ding dong. He could still send it over. White impermanence has received your red packet. You sent me a cigarette, right? After receiving the red packet, White impermanence sent a message. Yi Zichen shuddered when he saw that. How did she know about cigarettes? Yes, it is indeed cigarettes. Does the underworld have them too? Ding dong. Your intimacy level with White impermanence increased by 100. Current intimacy level: 300. No, but us ghost servants often go to the human realm, so we have heard of these. King Qingguang had said before that he wanted to try the cigarettes of the human realm. Thank you so much. Yi Zichen's worried heart finally calmed down when he saw this message. The underworld didn't have any products from the human realm. You're welcome, but I have something to ask of you. What is it? Yi Zichen reached out and touched the dragon eye beside his pillow. I want to know how to revive someone who died before their time. Or, is it possible? You're asking this for the girl beside you the other day, right? Yes. Although Lu Jing was very happy to be by his side recently, and it was very convenient sometimes, he wouldn't feel lonely even when he was alone. However, he still remembered what he said to Lu Jing when he told her to follow him. Let her live. Take revenge for her. When he saved Old Man Su, he had thought about using the 9 reincarnation soul pill to revive Lu Jing. However, Lu Jing's original body had already been cremated, so there was no way to revive her without her original body. If you want to resurrect her, it should be possible. What should I do? Yi Zichen's breathing became hurried, but White impermanence's words caused his heart to sink. But I'm not sure. What the hell are you talking about? Yi Zichen really wanted to curse. As if feeling Yi Zichen's emotions, White impermanence sent another message. The Tenyama kings should know. I'll help you ask on the day of the birthday feast. Thank you. After sending that message, Yi Zichen let out a long sigh and laid down on the bed. From the looks of it, it would take some time to revive Lu Jing. However, the thing that troubled him the most was revenge. The other party shouldn't be a good person. The next day, when Yi Zichen returned to school once again, he truly felt the change in the atmosphere. Fangirls could be seen shouting his name. Some would even run over to ask to take a photo with him, while some even secretly gave him a note. The note had a phone number on it. It seemed like they were looking forward to a date. Kong Peng and Bai Yu were also discharged from the hospital. The people in the dorm decided to go out for a meal to celebrate. The moment Yi Zichen got downstairs, he saw the door of a black commercial car suddenly open, and several men dressed in black walked out of the car. Yi Zichen rubbed his temples and stood on the spot. At the same time, those people also walked in front of him. Mr. Yi. Yi Zichen was able to guess the origins of these people when he saw their attire and the standard commercial car of the management company. I said that I don't want to enter the entertainment industry. Go back and tell your boss to not come to school to find me. This will cause a lot of trouble for me. Yi Zichen glanced at the surrounding students, then frowned unhappily. The man in sunglasses pursed his lips and smiled, then took out a few concert tickets from his pocket and handed them over. Mr. Yi, we didn't come to invite you to join our company. It was Miss Yang Yushi who told us to give you the concert tickets. Concert tickets? Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows. He knew that Yang Yushi was rather popular in the film industry, but he didn't know that she was actually a singer. Yang Yushi told you guys to give this to me? Yes, Miss Yang also told us to tell you that you must come to the venue. She'll be waiting for you there. Also, our boss, Director Hu, also told us to tell you that it would be such a pity if you don't enter the entertainment industry. The sunglasses-wearing man chuckled, then smiled towards Yi Zichen. Chapter 104. Guo Chang admits defeat. Is there anything you want to pass on? Yi Zichen smiled and shook his head. No. The sunglasses man clearly did not expect Yi Zichen to give him such an answer. However, he still nodded with a smile, then returned to the car and drove off. Fifth brother, why do you keep rejecting such a good opportunity? Mr. Hu, I think he has high hopes for you. When you were not in school, he personally came to our school a few times. Zhu Yunbai, the youngest in the dormitory, asked in confusion. Bai Yu patted him on the shoulder and shook his head. Of the people in the dorm, he was the one who had known Yi Zichen the longest and understood him the best. He vaguely remembered that Yi Zichen had a girlfriend in high school. It seemed to be Yang Yushi. During the third year of high school, Yi Zichen had once been depressed. After that, even though Yang Yushi became extremely popular, he never showed off their past to anyone. It was very likely that something had gone wrong in the middle that he didn't want to talk about. Zhu Yunbai was stunned by Bayu's attack. However, Yi Zichen merely smiled, then put away the concert tickets with a shrug. What's the point of being an artist? Isn't it to earn money? Right now, the one thing I don't lack the least is money. Is there a need for me to become an artist and work myself to death just to earn some money? Why do I feel like hitting him? Zhang Rui covered his right fist with his left hand. Kong Peng couldn't help but nod. You are really asking for a beating. As they chatted and laughed, they arrived at a restaurant near the university. Actually, this restaurant wasn't small, but the price was relatively affordable. It had always been the first choice for gatherings of the Polytechnic University students. Since all the rooms were full, Yi Zichen and company sat by the window on the second floor. Sir, here's the menu. When the waiter placed the menu on the table, Yi Zichen directly pushed it in front of Kong Peng and Baiyu. You two are the protagonists. Go ahead. At this moment, the waiter's eyes suddenly lit up and he exclaimed, You're Yi Zichen, right? Yi Zichen looked up and scratched his face. Yes. Can I take a photo with you? All right. Kong Peng and Baiyu had also ordered their dishes at this time. They sent the waiter away with a wry smile. Baiyu raised his eyebrows playfully and said, What a joke. Yi Zi, aren't you as famous as a celebrity? At least in our Polytechnic University, this is what you are. Yi Zichen raised his thumb and smiled wryly. Can I take that as a compliment? I was just praising you. Our young master Yi is now very popular in the Polytechnic University. Our group of brothers has also benefited from it. Zhang Rui hugged Yi Zichen's shoulders and laughed. Benefit from it? Yi Zichen revealed a look of confusion. Zhu Yunbai twitched his mouth. Don't worry. This show-off is using your WeChat to trick little girls into getting a hotel room. Haven't you noticed that more and more people are adding you on WeChat? Okay. Yi Zichen immediately stood up from the chair and cursed with his fist clenched. So you were the one who leaked the information. Brothers, were you blanking out for? Stop fooling around. I was wrong. Don't actually, it didn't use much strength at all. It was just that Zhang Rui's acting was a bit too much. At this moment, an unkind voice suddenly rang out from the private room next to them. Calm down, those outside. Everyone immediately stopped, while Yi Zichen put his finger to his mouth to signal them to be quiet. This was a public area. They were indeed a bit too noisy just now. Stop fooling around. Go back to the dorms if you want to. Zhang Rui also cupped his fist and smiled coyly towards the people downstairs. However, while Yi Zichen's side was quiet, someone in the private room suddenly laughed in disdain. Did you see that? Those grandsons outside are scared. The person who spoke had a faint hint of pride in his tone. The expressions of everyone on Yi Zichen's side instantly turned terrible. F*CK. Who the F*CK said that just now? Say it again, if you dare. Zhang Rui pushed his glasses up, stood up from the chair, and shouted towards the private room. Oh, you have quite a temper. With that, the curtain of the private room was opened, and 7 or 8 young men walked out with beer bottles in their hands. Grandsons, it's Grandpa who said it. Guo Chong. The one who spoke was none other than Guo Chong, who stole Yi Zichen's girlfriend. Zhang Rui frowned, while the others at the table also stood up at the same time with beer bottles in their hands. They all knew that it was this grandson who stole Yi Zichen's girlfriend. Lousy wanted to help OL5 take care of you a long time ago. B** starred. Your F** king unlucky to meet you here. Zhang Rui raised his beer bottle and was about to smash it over. However, Yi Zichen, who sat beside him without moving, suddenly raised his hand and stopped the bottle. Easy. Zhang Rui frowned, while Guochang also raised his eyebrows. At the same time, Yi Zichen stood up and glanced at Guochang and company. What surprised Zichen was that the person standing beside him was not Yao Yu this time, but a woman with a pale face who was clearly wearing too much makeup. Why bother with him? He's just a mad dog. Yi Zichen snatched the beer bottle from Zhang Rui's hands and smashed it onto Guo Chang's head. Just directly hit him. F***K. The lackeys behind Guo Chang rushed over with their beer bottles, while Kong Peng and company also picked up chairs. At that moment, Guo Chang stood up with his hand covering the wound on his head. He stopped the people behind him, then walked in front of Yi Zichen and lowered his head. Young Master Yi, I owe you this bottle of beer. Now that you've hit me, I hope that you can forgive me and not hold a grudge against me. I broke up with Yao Yu. Guo Chang's reaction shocked everyone. Yi Zichen even raised his eyebrows with a smile. Don't worry. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows and smiled. What did you call me just now? Young Master Yi. Guo Chang clenched his teeth and lowered his head. Young Master Yi, I was blind back then. However, Yao Yu isn't a good woman either. Since she can make me take money away from you, then she can make other people take money away from you. Kong Peng. Yi Zichen raised his hand. Kong Peng immediately understood and placed a beer bottle in his hand. Bang! Guo Chang's head was covered in blood after the bottle went down. However, he still stood in front of Yi Zichen with his head lowered and clenched his teeth. Young Master Yi, sorry. F***CK off. Yi Zichen pointed at the stairs and cursed with a dark expression. Guo Chang immediately ran away from the second floor with a woman beside him and a few lackeys, as if he had been pardoned. Yi Zichen clenched his fist tightly and sat down on the chair without saying anything. Easy, Bai Yu and Zhang Rui patted Yi Zichen's shoulders in concern. Yi Zichen smiled, while his mind was filled with Guo Chang's words. What a joke. Yi Zichen licked his lips, then took out a bottle of beer from the beer box on the side and smiled. Chapter 105. Officer Lin treated him to a meal. Why did you drink so much? Xiao Yumei smelled the alcohol on Yi Zichen, so she specially brewed a pot of tea for him. Yi Zichen, who leaned back on the sofa, twisted his neck. My friend just got out of the hospital, so we came to celebrate. As he spoke, he raised his eyebrows when he saw the pile of documents on Xiao Yumei's desk. Are you busy? Yeah. Isn't Bai Dahai's jewelry store now under your name? You don't even look at the financial affairs in the middle. You could be at ease and be a shopkeeper. Do you think I can ignore it? Yi Zichen grabbed her hand and smiled when he felt the blame in Xiao Yumei's tone. It's been hard on you. You know that it's been hard on me. Xiao Yumei rolled her eyes at Yi Zichen, then sat down beside him with a frown. But when I was sorting out Bai Dahai's finances, I felt like something wasn't right, but I didn't know what was wrong. That didn't surprise Yi Zichen at all. No need to worry about it. Bai Dahai definitely has a trap waiting for us. We just have to wait for him to reveal himself. Are you sure? Xiao Yumei revealed a worried expression. Finances aren't a small problem. If he's allowed to mess around, then it will be very troublesome in the future. Is that so? Yi Zichen didn't know anything about business. He thought about it, then took out his phone to call Xiao Hai. Lil, Yi, why do you have time to call Hai Ji? Say it, what is it this time? Yi Zichen couldn't help but blush when he heard the clear laughter from the other side of the phone. He was a bit embarrassed to call Xiao Hai whenever he needed something. Hai Ji, I did call you because I have something to trouble you with. Say it. I got 51% of Bai Dahai's jewelry store shares a while ago, but I feel like he set me up. I want Hai Ji to help me check it out. Bai Dahai? Sure, leave it to me. Then I'll trouble Hai Ji. You're welcome. After the call ended, Yi Zichen put away his phone and gave Xiao Yumei a reassuring look. It's done. Hai Ji will definitely be able to find something. You know, quite a bit of people, Xiao Yumei smiled sweetly. Yi Zichen instantly revealed a naughty smile. Am I small? Are you not small? Xiao Yumei also revealed a playful expression. Hee hee, looks like it's been too long since we last met, and you've forgotten. I have to remind you. With that, as Xiao Yumei exclaimed, Yi Zichen picked her up and placed her on the office table. Don't, this is the company. What's wrong with the company? It's exciting in the company. Besides, would they dare to come in without your order? Yi Zichen pursed his lips into a smile, then kissed her. By the time he left Xiao Yumei's company, it was already nighttime. Xiao Hai was investigating Bai Dahai, so there was nothing to worry about. As Yi Zichen strolled along the street, he was lost in thought as he gazed at the scenery. At this moment, the phone in his pocket suddenly rang. Hey, Yi Zichen, right? I'm Lin Xia. At a small northeastern restaurant. Yi Zichen and Lin Xie sat in a small booth. Officer Lin, there's something wrong with you. Yi Zichen, who leaned back on the chair, swept his gaze over Officer Lin. She wore a white t-shirt, blue jeans, and a silver necklace around her neck. She had long hair and light makeup. This was the first time he saw Officer Lin like this after knowing her for so long. I don't look good? Lin Xie bit her lips. Yi Zichen shook his head and praised sincerely. You look good, but I just feel that it's weird. What's weird about it? Our relationship seems to be. Yi Zichen didn't finish his sentence and shook his head. I just feel that it's too weird for you to treat me to a meal dressed like this. Lin Xie instantly rolled her eyes at Yi Zichen. Don't think too much about treating you to a meal. I just purely wanted to thank you for saving me that day. I definitely won't think too much about it, but you chose this kind of place to repay me for saving your life? Yi Zichen twitched his mouth. This girl was too stingy. How much money can a civil servant have? Lin Xie bit her lips and felt wronged. Yi Zichen looked at her. What's with that look? What exactly do you want to say? Can you speak or not? Lin Xie slammed the table, causing the other customers in the store to look towards her. Lin Xie blushed, then bit her lips and cursed softly. Can you speak or not? What do you mean by that? Speechless. Don't you understand? Yi Zichen looked at her helplessly. Lin Xie immediately said angrily, Why are you speechless? All right, I admit that the standard for treating a young master like you here is a bit low. Isn't a bit low? Fine, the place I chose is too low. Lin Xie clenched her teeth and snorted. Lin Xie gritted her teeth and grumbled. But I also saved you once. If I hadn't arrived in time that day, hee. What are you chuckling about? Lin Xie was truly going crazy from Yi Zichen's torture. Why didn't I notice that he was actually this sort of person before? Yi Zichen glanced at Lin Xie, who was on the verge of going crazy, then picked up a piece of braised pork with his chopsticks. First of all, you didn't get there in time that day. Chief Lu told you to come, right? Secondly, if it wasn't for your boyfriend, do you think I would have ended up like that? This time, it was Lin Xie's turn to be speechless. She couldn't refute Yi Zichen's words at all, especially when Zhao Ziming told Lu Chong to make a move on him. Sorry. Lin Xie lowered her head deeply, while an apologetic expression covered her face. Yi Zichen sighed in his heart when he heard her dispirited tone. Come on, stop apologizing. It's not your fault that you got such a petty boyfriend. If you want to blame someone, then blame the sins you committed in your previous life. Yi Zichen, I really want to hit you. Hearing that, Yi Zichen instantly laughed. There are plenty of people who want to hit me. Who do you think you are? After they finished their noisy dinner, Yi Zichen and Lin Xie left the restaurant together. Yi Zichen raised his eyebrows outside the restaurant. Officer Lin, do you have any other orders? F*CK off. Hurry up, and F*CK off. Lin Xie caused Yi Zichen's lungs to explode from the meal. When Yi Zichen saw her hysterical expression, he smirked and blinked. Then bye-bye. Don't dream of me when you go back tonight. Otherwise, you'll fall in love with me. F*CK off. From the looks of it, Yi Zichen was going to get beaten up if he didn't run. Yi Zichen shrunk his neck, then quickly ran, until she lost sight of Yi Zichen. Lin Xie, whose face was filled with anger, suddenly laughed.